least to start the show, it is not Gwynn or Chris. It is Sammy and Skraby here on 97.3 The Fan. Sam Levitt joins me right now. How are you, Sam? Thanks for filling in for the guys today.
Absolutely, Matt Skraby. Good to talk to you. Always happy to join you for an edition of Sammy and Skraby for our wonderful San Diego listeners throughout Southern California. How are you, Matt Skraby? It's been a while.
It has been a while. I'm doing great. I do have something I think we need to talk about before we get into the show that literally just happened about 3 minutes before we got into the show. Everybody knows I'm kind of a germaphobe, Sam. I don't like being around someone who's been sick or someone who's touched something weird or something like that. Not a fan of that. Last week or 2 weeks ago, Chris said he had an eye infection. And I was like, that's not cool to come into work with an eye infection, Chris. And then just leaving the studio, I'm not going to say who, but someone else in this building has an eye infection, which means that Chris brought the eye infection to work.
I have a lot of thoughts.
Yes.
This particular, now, I'm not fully aware of the situation. I did not see Chris. I did not even hear about this eye situation until about 5 minutes ago. But I will tell you.
You're out in Arizona, so it doesn't concern you, really.
Correct. The experience that I have with this type of eye situation, I remember in summer camp, typically when one kid got the eye infection in a bunk, a lot of kids got the eye infection in a bunk.
I got it when I was a kid. Easy to get it.
I would be careful if I were you sitting in that chair. I would sanitize. I would wear gloves. I don't know. But
I did when I came over to use the mouse. I used a tissue to move the mouse. You know what? I trust. Frank was sitting over here. I saw him in his process. Didn't know what he was doing, but he was using hand sanitizer a lot. So I'm cool with that. I wiped down the board a little bit, but the original culprit is the one who I told not to come to work with an eye infection. And I don't know how else to get my opinion across to Mr. Crisello, but we are trying to check in with him later, and so we may broach this subject later. All right. Well.
Look, again, I want to be careful with what I say. I'm not fully aware of the situation. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I don't want to throw Chris under the bus. So all I know is that with this particular eye infection, it typically gets around from my experience.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm lucky. I fully expected to have an eye infection like 2 weeks ago when Chris came in, but I'm very good at cleaning my hands and things like that, so I'm not going to freak out too much. If the boss is listening, he can go ahead and text me, and I will tell you all of my feelings, Adam Klug. All right. We are, at least I am broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios.
By the way, we mentioned Adam Klug, and we would be remiss if we didn't mention this. Adam Klug is a great boss. I have a great deal of respect for him.
Handles a lot.
He is. He cares about the work, about his people. I will sing the praises of Adam Klug for as long as I work under him.
Yes.
Now, the good thing about Adam Klug, and I have a unique experience, is that he, for the most part, kind of lets me work throughout the course of spring training, throughout the course of a season. I know from talking to Stephen Woods, to you, to others, he can be on you guys. But with me in particular, he really leaves me be for the most part.
I mean, you know what you're doing.
I do. I will tell you, he reminded me and you, I think, a combined 20 plus times about the schedule for today and tomorrow, where I would be filling in for some amount of time. I got emails. I got texts. I got phone calls. I got telegrams. I got messages at the complex.
You got carrier
I got
pigeons.
Everything. So we made it to 2 p.m. Pacific time on Monday, March 2nd. Both you and I are sitting here in the spots that we said we would be, and we're here, Adam.
Yes. And what I will say about Adam on this is that he told me before the year he wants to be more on top of the schedules of the show because, our show has a lot of moving pieces. And so I appreciate that because I can't tell what's going on half the time with the show. But Adam, we're just giving you a hard time. We love you. You're a great boss, and we appreciate you. We'll go forward and maybe revisit this a little bit later. Like I said, we're broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Sam is out in Arizona for spring training. We have a ton of stuff to talk about. Alex Verdugo signs via a minor league deal. I saw an article on MLB.com talking about 5 guys that need to take advantage of opportunities while guys are away from the Padres at the World Baseball Classic. Bad news, Brian Hoeing is shut down with elbow discomfort. And then I wanted to talk a little bit about Sung-Mung Song's versatility because he's playing all over the infield. So anyway, Sam, before we jump into it, I mean, how is life there in Arizona? It's got to be weird to just pick up and move your life for about 7 weeks to a different location.
Yeah, I mean, you're not doing it alone. I mean, from the players to the staff to the broadcasters to the media members to the PR. I mean, there are a lot of people doing it, so you're not doing it alone. It is a little weird in this sense that I've been here for 3 weeks and we still have 3 weeks left. That's the weird part.
That is weird
because you're like, wow, I've kind of been here a while and you're only halfway through. But I like it. I mean, it's a great time of year. It's very relaxed. The baseball is good. Honestly, the hardest part about this spring training in particular has been the weather. And it's not that it's cold. It's not that it's rainy. We've had that before. It's really hot. I mean, it's been 90-something degrees, it feels like, for the last week. It is really hot. So it's kind of taken a lot out of you, and it's the dry heat. The sun here in Arizona, I've said it many times, it's different than Southern California. It's very intense. I put a hat on around 11 a.m. every day to protect my face.
Everybody think about 11 a.m. and Sam putting a hat on because
I wear my long sleeves as long as I can to kind of cover my arms from the sun. Yeah, honestly, the heat is, to me, been the hardest part because it just takes it out of you the whole day. It really, really does. So it's supposed to cool down, I think, a little bit starting tomorrow. And then I think it's going to get back down to the 70s in a few days. So I'm going to welcome that. But it's been great. I mean, it's been a good spring. It's been a fun spring. Thankfully for the Padres, it's been mostly good things and news. You know, they've had some injury stuff pop up, but nothing major. Knock on wood, that continues to be the case. But it's been good. I had my mom and my brother out here this weekend, so that was nice. Broke it up a little bit, but overall, spring training has been a good time.
All right, the pleasantries are out of the way. Now we can get into the meat and potatoes. Today, though, the Padres playing the A's are not faring very well. Michael King gave up 4 runs.
It's over.
It's over. Season's over.
Year's
After
over.
Michael King's dominant first start of spring, he comes back, gives up 4 runs. Now, there is an interesting rule, Sam, that they had to take into account here. They can remove a starter from the game and then put him back in the next inning. So they had to do that with him. What is that for? He can't get out of trouble, or?
Well, they don't want to. Yeah, I mean, we see it pretty frequently when a guy is struggling in an inning, and more particularly, he's thrown a lot of pitches in an inning. They don't want to turn it into a spot where you have somebody like Michael King out there throwing, 35, 40 pitches in an inning.
That's true.
Number one, you don't want him to do that for his own health this early in the year. And the other thing, too, remember, you want him to be able to get the up downs. You want him to be able to sit down, go back out, and have that feeling of sitting down after an inning and coming back out. That's part of the buildup in spring training. So frequently, if there are a lot of pitches thrown in an inning and there's nobody out, there's one out, there's 2 outs, they start getting a minor league guy warmed up, and he will come in, finish the inning, and then the starter or whomever will go back out and get put back in. So yes, it is a rule in baseball that only exists during the exhibition spring training games, but fairly frequent, honestly. Sometimes it could be that a guy has just had a long inning and long at bats, and he may not have even given up a run yet, but pretty standard. And I would not worry too much about the results today for Michael King. Got hit a little bit, gave up some runs, but you know what? You're not too bothered by it here on March 2nd.
Before we get into like Alex Verdugo and some of the bench guys, I want to talk about the 40-man roster. Now, is it to me, it's like if you're on the 40-man roster, you already have a leg up on certain guys because they are
Sure.
not on the 40-man roster. So those guys include Miguel Andujar, they're on it. Nick Castellanos, Bryce Johnson, Sungwon Song, Herman Marquez, Ty Adcock, and Griffin Canning. Is that telling us that these guys are probably going to be contributing at the big league level this year? Obviously, depending on performance, but it gives them an extra step towards being on the big league roster.
Yeah, I mean, I think it tells you when you're on the 40-man this time of year that you've got a pretty good shot to contribute at some point. Obviously, every guy is not going to be on the opening day roster, but you do have, I suppose, a quote-unquote leg up when you're just on the 40-man because it means you can get called up to the 26-man whenever, rather than when you're not on the 40-man and you need to get put on in order for that to happen, let's say at some point in the season, and often that includes having to clear a spot on the 40-man for that player. So you can make the argument, let's take the bench, for example. You know, the way I view it right now with the bench, there's 1 or 2 spots available. And I say one or two. The 2 being if I'm assuming that Sungwon Song is not a lock, and 1 if he is a lock. And I think there's a pretty darn good chance he's going to be on this opening day roster. I really do. So I kind of look at it like it's 1 spot available as far as the bench. So yeah, when you talk about the conversation of who has a leg up, you know, can you say that Mason McCoy and Will Wagner have a leg up on, say, a Jose Miranda, Ty France, because some guys are on the 40-man, some aren't? You could say that. It's also pretty easy, you know, to, if you want, clear a spot to make room for another guy. And the same thing can be said about the outfielders. Can you make the argument that, Bryce Johnson, for example, is on the 40-man? He has a better chance of making it than another guy that's not in Major League camp. Yeah, I think it's very fair to say that. I'll also say this, just to kind of extend the question about the bench. One of the things I think is fascinating is I think you could really make an argument right now, if you wanted, that you could probably predict what the position player group's going to look like with the final 2 spots.
Yeah.
If you want to say Song is making the team, and I'll tell you, there's really a case to be made when you consider what the Padres have after the additions of Castellanos and Andujar and what Bryce Johnson actually did last year. Matt, you can really make a case that this guy should be on the team on opening day. Like right now, be able to say it. I don't think they'll say it, but you can make that argument for Bryce Johnson based on what they need and what he did last year. So, look, I think there's a pretty solid chance that I could tell you the final 2 spots are going to be Song and Johnson. Don't know that for sure. We'll see how it shakes out, and these things, you know, in a way tend to kind of work themselves out. But yeah, I mean, after the Castellanos move, you were and Song and Duhar earlier in the offseason, you were really, I think, looking at a scenario now where it's like maybe 1 spot as long as everybody stays healthy.
Yeah, I mean, Bryce Johnson last year, I think people should remember that he hit over 300 in basically a fill-in type of role. So he was not obviously an everyday player. It's not easy to hit in those circumstances, and he could steal a base. He could play really good defense. So I don't mind having him on the team at all.
Right. And here's the other thing that I think Bryce Johnson has an advantage with when it comes to that final spot or final 2 spots, however you want to say it. If not him, you know, put it this way. If you go with an infielder along with Song, if you go with an infielder for that final spot, then you're starting to ask yourself, well, who's kind of like the 4th outfielder on this team? Because, yeah, you could stick Castellanos in right field. It doesn't appear they're planning to do that because he hasn't played out there at all. Can he? Yeah, he can play out there. He can spell Fernando in right field, although I don't anticipate that's going to happen very often as long as Fernando's healthy. You know, Laureano in left, Merrill in center. Let's say you want to give Jackson Merrill a DH day. You don't really, unless you're going to shift Laureano to center, which you could do, I suppose, or shift Tatis to center, which I don't expect you would do. You don't really have like a 4th outfield type.
Yeah, true.
You don't have, you know, and Matt, you know this, things happen during the season.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a guy has a twinge and they may be out for a few days, but not on the IL, and they're still debating what they're going to do with him. You typically need like that fourth outfield type. And to me, Bryce Johnson is very clearly that. And he provides speed. He hit a little bit last year when he had opportunity. I just think he brings a lot in the way this is kind of shaping up. Yes, Andujar can play the outfield. Yes, Castellanos has played plenty of outfield in his career. But when you're looking for a true fourth outfield, solid defense, can run, can maybe hit a little bit type of guy, to me, Bryce Johnson like very much fits the bill right now. Not a lock. I'm not saying he's a lock, but I
get it.
I would almost be surprised if he's not on this roster, which, yeah, if you're assuming Song's going to be there, I might be able to tell you the group right now, the 13 position players. So we'll see. It's early, month to go, but that's kind of where we're at.
As our esteemed boss, who's now on the chat, is reminding us that Bryce Johnson is also a switch hitter, which is very valuable. So that helps him out as well. Sung Song, his versatility, real quick before we go to break. He played first base, second base, and third base during his 9-year KBO career, but he's also going to be trying to play shortstop and left field per AJ Cassavell. So Stammen said he's not worried about if he's going to pick up the positions. They're confident he's going to pick them up quickly. I saw a couple of his at-bats today, Sam, and maybe we'll go to break on this.
Yeah.
Is he, Sung Song, do we need him just for defense? Because I don't know that his bat is going to catch up.
Well, we're going to find out. I mean, look, I think that's the tough part. And it was actually something I almost asked Craig today during his scrum. And I said, I'll do it a different day because we weren't really talking about him in particular. Look, the question with Song, I don't think the defense is going to be a question as far as the positions he's played. The infield spots where he's typically played in his career, he's probably going to be fine.
Yeah.
The outfield question is a good one. He's never played out there. It does sound like he's going to get some run out there. I think at some point here soon in the Cactus League games, you're going to see him out there, at least in some capacity to get his feet wet a little bit. How he's going to be in the outfield, I don't know. The bigger question with him, very obviously, is going to be, can he hit major league pitching? And I don't know that you're going to have that answer until he gets the opportunity to do it. And part of what I was like kind of thinking about talking to Craig about today was, how do you evaluate that in spring training? I mean,
true.
Here's the reality. Like, yeah, he can face guys late in a Cactus League game. Yeah, he can face even other teams better, more major league starting pitchers in a Cactus League game. But the reality is, come opening weekend, come the opening homestand, when you're staring down Skubal and Valdez, not that necessarily he's starting those games, I get that.
Probably,
but when you're talking about
too.
like being in the lineup against guys like that, period, across the board in Major League Baseball, can he hit that? You're not really going to know until he gets out there. So it's a good question that we're still trying to figure out. We saw, and I know we got to get the break, but we saw like with Ha-Sung Kim, that transition takes time. Yes. It does. It can very much take time. So that is a very fair question when it comes to Song.
All right, we're going to take our first break of the day. Sammy and Skraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris. Tony will be here after the Padres finish with the A's. We will also have Sam with Mason Miller at 2:40. He interviewed him the other day, so I'm really curious to hear all of that. But when we get back, who are the 5 guys who could seize opportunities in spring training? We will talk about them next.
When women rise.
something I do quite often is talk without my microphone button being on. Remember to listen around 5:35 for us to announce today's biggest fan for a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey Suite at future Padres games with all of the fan staff, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. Matt Skraby, Sam Levitt in Arizona. I am in the Bill House Studios. Tony Gwynn Jr. to join us in a little bit. Mason Miller in about 15 minutes from now. And we may check in with Chris Ello at the end of the show. But I said there are 5 names. Now, AJ Cassavell wrote an article about 5 Padres looking this season opportunity. The first one on the list, Sam, is Sungmun Song. We already talked about him. Next one on the list, Bradley Rodriguez. Now, after seeing him in the playoffs last year, I came into this without even thinking, is he going to be on the roster? I just thought he will be on the roster.
Yeah, I don't know that I necessarily looked at Bradley as a lock for the bullpen. Coming into spring training, look, he's obviously somebody that has a lot of potential, throws hard, has electric stuff. The Padres thought highly enough of to bring him up at points last year. But look, I think it's a totally fair point that he is right there at the top of the list as far as guys who can make an impression while guys are away for the WBC, like this article points out, but also to make the bullpen with maybe an open spot or two because of some different injury considerations. So look, he's young, very electric, and I'm right there with AJ who wrote this. That Rodriguez he's got a big opportunity, and I would not be shocked to see him in the bullpen on opening day. And if you want me to, if we can just kind of run down what the pen is.
Yeah, go for it.
Right now. So what are the locks for the bullpen right now? And you're looking at, unless the Padres use a 6-man, 8 guys in that bullpen. Mason Miller, that's 1. Jeremiah Estrada, that's 2. Adrian Morejon, that's 3. I'm going to say Jason Adam right now because the way he's trended, to me, seems like he's probably going to be ready for opening day. Don't quote me on that, but he's throwing lives. I can't imagine that Cactus League games are that far behind. Again, not saying that for sure, but I think that's a real possibility. So for this argument, let's put him in there. That's okay. 4. Peralta, that's 5. Then you get to some spots. Well, Morgan, that's 6.
Yep.
So that's 6 right there with Adam that I think are 100% obvious locks. After that, then it gets a little trickier because question about Yuki Matsui, his availability for opening day. If you include him on the opening day roster, that's 7. So it leaves you 1 spot. And to me, when you look at, again, guys in the 40, man, yeah, somebody like Bradley is right there as far as somebody that you could see as a guy they want to get in the big leagues, get him more experience. He doesn't have to be your highest leverage reliever at all. You can use him in lower leverage spots to build up his confidence. But do I think Bradley's a lock? I don't. Look, there are other guys that could serve roles. You look at the list. Kyle Hart, I think, is really interesting. Is a guy, a lefty that maybe they look at. It could be almost another lefty specialist.
Probably not on the roster, but Alec Jacob as well.
Yeah, right. Alec Jacob, Ron Marinaccio. Again, that's why I wouldn't put Bradley as it's going to be automatic because I do think there are other more veteran guys that could get that opportunity. And Bradley probably will be up at some point this year, but I don't know that that'll be necessarily opening day. They have options is the point. And you might be looking at a scenario where it's a battle for 1 spot for all those guys. Yeah. So, but they're interesting. To me, Kyle Hart is actually really interesting because he can do a lot of things. I understand the results were up and down last year, but he could start. He could be a long man. He also could be a lefty specialist for sure. And keep in mind, 2 guys in the bullpen are lefties in Morejon and Peralta, but neither of those guys are they can get lefties out, but they're not lefty specialists. Adrian is one of the best relievers in the game. Peralta's great against righties. So you still might need kind of that lefty specialist. And I kind of wonder if Kyle Hart could be that guy.
I
for
like
opening
Kyle
day. I
Hart
do.
a lot, actually. And with Brian Hoeing being shut down for a little bit with elbow discomfort, I mean, Kyle Hart fits that long man role, as you said.
Mhm.
I thought last year he pitched, Kyle Hart, that is, pitched way better out of the bullpen. His starts, I just don't think he has the stuff to make it through a start, but he definitely has the stuff to get through an inning. And I don't mind having him as a guy that can come off the bench.
Yeah,
Or
one
the
more
bullpen
point about the
bench.
bullpen. Like, what's interesting for opening day right now is this. You have a scenario potentially where you have one open spot, and you could also have a scenario on the opening day roster where you have 3 spots you got to fill, because if Yuki's not ready for
True.
opening day,
Yes,
that's one more spot open. And if Adam's not ready for
Correct.
opening day. So we'll see. That's going to be interesting to see how it comes into focus as we get towards the end of spring.
I did see Kevin Acee reported that Yuki likely back for the regular season, but obviously obliques in that area is very tricky, and we have no idea. So we will update you on that as it goes along. A couple other guys from AJ Cassavel's article. Nick Solak. Now, he, so far in spring training, hitting 357, 1 home run, but I guess he's 5 for 13. I'm not really sure Nick Solak being on this list and why he's on this list.
Well, he's put up good numbers at AAA. He's a guy who can play multiple infield positions. You know, we talked about the 40-man earlier in the opening segment.
Yeah.
This is one of those scenarios where it's a tough path for him because, again, on the 40-man, you just have guys that kind of do what he already – guys that do what he also does.
Mm-hmm.
Again, maybe he's a better hitter, but like Mason McCoy can do that. Will Wagner's on the 40-man, somebody we don't talk about much at all, can do that. Song can do that. We don't know how he's going to hit. So I would think his path to a spot on the opening day roster is pretty tough, but I think AJ Cassavel's point in this piece is guys that can capitalize based on guys being away for the WBC and the fact that Bogarts, Machado are away. That certainly will give him more at-bats. And, hey, if he tears it up, who knows, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a benefit if he tears it up, because they also have Alex Verdugo, which we haven't talked about, but we will before we get into Mason Miller. Last guy on the list, Samad Taylor. He's been kind of tearing it up in spring training so far. I don't know where he fits on this roster, but he is giving himself a good shot to be like maybe one of those first guys picked up.
Yeah, again, same kind of situation with him in the sense of, and AJ makes the point in the piece, and I think he's right, of, you know, what does Taylor do that Bryce Johnson doesn't do, right? To me, they're probably pretty similar. Fourth outfield types, can bring speed. But again, when you're talking about extensive at-bats, more at-bats than they would typically get if guys were not gone for the WBC, yeah, he's right in that mix of a guy who could, you know, take advantage of the opportunity with more playing time. Yeah.
All right. Yes, good breakdown, Sam. This is why we have Sam on the show. He knows all about these guys. He watches them every single day. He comes on our show, and Zach Veen hits a walk-off home run on Friday. If you missed that,
by the way, I was talking to Samad Taylor yesterday, and he made the point. We basically have the same name because people call him Sam, like his name's Samad.
Yeah. And so next time he's called Sam, both of you are gonna look.
Yeah. So he's Samad.
Like, Sam, hey, Sam, we need you at bat. And then you run over.
Well, I'm technically Samuel, so we both have SAM at the front.
Yes, you are, Samuel. All right, when we get back, Samuel talk to Mason Miller, the Padres closer. We'll also talk briefly about Alex Verdugo being added to the team. So the flamethrower up next on 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Woods on
Sammy and Skraby back here on 97.3 The Fan. We're about to hear from Mason Miller. Now, last year after he got traded, he was nice enough, Sam, to stand in front of his locker and answer my dumb questions. But he just sounded.
I remember that. I remember I encouraged you to go up there and talk to him.
You did. And I did. And I did.
He was very, very nervous inside the clubhouse. He said, Mason's a really nice guy. Why don't you go talk to him?
Yeah. And he was a great dude. I was just stumbling everywhere over my questions. But Mason Miller, good dude. You talked with him at spring training. We're going to hear from him in just a second. But I have to remind you, all guests on 97.3 The Fan are brought to you by SDCCU. It's not big bank banking. It's better. Padres, bottom of the eighth. A's are leading 7-1. They have a guy on second with no outs. We'll keep you apprised of the situation because they have been coming back here, Sam, in spring training. So I appreciate these comeback kids.
Never quit Pods. Those Cactus League warriors.
They are Cactus League. I couldn't say cactus for a second. Cactus League warriors. All right, I'm going to rest up. I'm going to learn how to speak again. But in the meantime, everybody, listen to Sam Levitt interview Padres closer Mason Miller.
Sam Levitt here at Padres spring training in Peoria, Arizona. Still the early days of spring, and right now I'm joined by Padres closer Mason Miller. Mason, appreciate you taking the time. How's spring going so far?
Spring's going awesome, Sam. Appreciate the time. Good to sit here and spend some time with you.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your off season. You spent it back in Pittsburgh, same area where you grew up. How was your off season? How was the winter? I hear a lot of snow, a lot of cold weather.
Yes, yeah. Towards the end there, it was a lot of snow, a lot of chilly temperatures, but overall great off season. Nice to be home, be around the family, kick it up a little bit. We had an awesome time. Enjoyed the downtime. Excited to be back though.
After the season, is it nice to get home, some familiarity and kind of a place that's maybe a little bit more low key for you than what the season's like?
Yeah. Nothing beats coming home to your house and sleeping in your bed at home, and just being nothing to do tomorrow. Just take it one day at a time. That's kind of how we go about the season. But when you don't have a schedule each day, it's kind of nice to do what you want to do.
I'm sure last season was a bit of a whirlwind for you. You spend most of it with the A's. You get traded at the deadline to San Diego, end up having just a tremendous run final 2 months of the season into the postseason, which we'll talk about. But now that you had the opportunity to sit with it over the winter, how do you reflect on what last season was?
I wear it for golf, to the office. I wear it everywhere. Hey guys, this is Joe Kudla, founder of Viore, and I'm here today.
Yeah, last season was a whirlwind, like you said. For me, for my wife, just getting moved in the middle of the season is never easy, but felt really fortunate to end up in a place like San Diego where, everybody welcomed us with open arms, super hospitable, made our lives super easy. So we were very fortunate for that. And then to be welcomed in and perform well on a great team going towards the playoffs. And, unfortunately, it didn't work out as well as we hoped, but it was a blessing to be a part of that group, and I felt great about the way we finished up.
Right, and it was your first time pitching in a playoff race that late in the season into the postseason. How do you reflect on getting that opportunity, getting laid out in those kinds of big games and situations?
Yeah, that's what you prepare for. That's what you talk about in spring training, what you think about throughout the course of the season. So to actually be in that spot and have a chance to, go get those big outs and be put into situations where, the season kind of feels like it's on the line.
Right.
Very rewarding, a lot of learning. And, once you get a taste of it, you want to get back to it.
What stood out to you about playing at Petco Park and in front of the fans? Everybody comes and talks about it, quite the atmosphere, but to you, San Diego in particular, what stood out about being a Padre?
Man, it was just every single night, packed out, energy. And obviously, having played there on the road, you kind of know the atmosphere that you're going into. Right. But just the excitement and the care and the support that the fans have is really one of a kind. And I'm truly honored and grateful to be able to go out there and play with those fans behind us.
Fast forwarding to the postseason, it was really amazing. You faced 9 batters. You struck out 8. In the process, you threw the fastest recorded pitch in postseason history at 104.5. What was that like for you pitching in the postseason for the first time in particular?
The atmosphere was incredible. The stakes obviously are super high. So I feel like it elevates everybody's game. Everybody has that will to do well, want to do your part for your team. But that's all heightened in the playoffs. So finding a way to feel those feelings, feel that adrenaline, but also stay within yourself and do the things that had gotten the team to that point. So I really cherish those moments. And like I said, just really excited to get back to it.
Do you think it gives you a little extra juice having now had a taste of postseason baseball to try to get back there?
Yeah, I think you wonder what it's like. Now you know what it's like. So there's a difference there. But, no game is the same. Each situation's a little bit different. So just finding that normalcy for yourself and what's going to help you perform at the highest level.
As far as velocity, everybody knows you throw hard. I mentioned the pitch at 104.5 in the postseason. You think you got 105 in you, 106 in you?
Why not? You don't put any limitations on yourself. That's the way I approach it. Every year we're just working, trying to get a little bit better. So we'll see where we end up this year.
Yeah, we'll get to some of the fan questions in a second. There's there were a lot of questions about velocity, and we'll get to some of those. From your perspective, you've obviously had a tremendous start to your major league career. What you did late last season was just awesome for San Diego. Heading into the offseason, and I guess as you get ready to start 2026, where was there an area or what was the area where you looked at and said, I can still get better there?
Yeah, 100%. As a competitor, you're always looking for ways to get better.
Yeah.
And the game is I say like a pendulum of like, you're going really good, and then, the pendulum kind of swings and people got you figured out. And that's how are you going to adjust? So, just continuing to stay consistent in my preparation and, how I respond to situations that don't necessarily go the way that I would like. Just shortening the stretches of bad and trying to ride out those stretches of good as long as you can.
Do you feel like that's something earlier in your career that you struggled with more when things maybe didn't go your way of how you would react to them?
Not necessarily, but I do think you look at the 2024 season, you look at the 2025 season for me, and, my numbers are very, very similar over the course of those 2 years. Ended the same number of punch-outs, similar ERA, things like that. But I felt like these seasons were completely different, where I came out of the gates really hot in 24, and most of my struggles in 24 came towards the back half of the season. And I was self-aware enough to know that I want to be throwing my best bullets towards the end of the season, especially as we, even with the A's, had goals of making the playoffs. You go into each season, that's every team's goal. But kind of wanting to be able to be in a point where I didn't feel like I was sputtering to the finish line. And, to be able to finish like I did last year was super, super motivating for me, just because that was kind of a goal that I came into the season with. Now, if I can stretch that consistency out over the course of the full season, as opposed to having a tough month in May like I did last year, and I think that just takes my game to another level.
A few other questions for you before we get to the social media fan questions. Team USA, you'll be heading out of here in about a week and a half or so, joining Team USA World Baseball Classic. What went into that decision to pitch for Team USA, and how much are you looking forward to that?
Oh, it wasn't much of a decision. I really, as soon as I had the opportunity to, it was an easy yes, to be a part of a group like that. Going to play in an event that has picked up more and more steam, and I think is really growing in popularity, which I think is great for the game of baseball as a whole. Just to be able to be on that stage and be along those guys, I'm really honored to be there.
You have some guys in that clubhouse that are playing on other teams. I think notably Fernando, Manny on the Dominican Republic team. You could face those guys in the later rounds. I know I've talked to people around here, like we can all see that late inning.
Dentist approved way to
matchup, Mason Miller against the middle of the order. Manny, Fernando, have you thought about what that could be like?
Take it one game at a time, but I know they're getting some reps in the lives. So,
all right.
We're feeling it out a little bit, but you welcome competition at the highest level, and we have some extremely talented guys in our locker room. So to get the chance to match up with them, that'd be good. And you definitely want to get the upper hand, because you got to spend the whole season with them too.
That's right. And you want those guys hitting during those games during the regular season. I asked you this during a scrum in the clubhouse a handful of days ago about the conversations. There were some rumblings during the early part of the offseason about maybe the Padres stretching you out into a starting pitcher. Ultimately, you guys came to the decision to keep you in the bullpen, where you've been so good and so dominant. But in a greater sense, is that something that you think you may be interested in one day at some point, going back to the rotation?
Yeah, kind of like I said, just putting those limitations on yourself. I'm I view myself as a bullpen pitcher right now. It's where I've had my success.
Yeah.
You know, I won't limit myself to say that's what I'll be for my entire career. But right now, from an individual perspective and from a team perspective too, it makes the most sense.
Yeah.
And really, that's all we're here to do is how can we help the San Diego Padres achieve their goals and do what we want to do. So I think we were all in agreement on that.
Yeah, and just so you know, I was with you. Watching this guy throw out of the bullpen, I was like, don't do a thing. Keep on doing what you're doing. You've been very, very vocal going back to your time with the A's, your journey with type 1 diabetes. You also have a guy in the clubhouse, Michael King, who is King of the Hill Foundation, focuses on delaying, preventing the onset of type 1 diabetes. You've become involved with that on the board of advisors. Why does that continue, and I'm sure in San Diego as well, continue to be such a big part of your off the field identity, making sure you're involved with those communities?
Yeah, I think as a professional player, professional athlete in any sport, you know, you have a platform, and I think that it falls on your shoulders to do good with that platform. You know, I have a super unique situation that I'm able to connect with kids with type 1 diabetes, really anybody with type 1 diabetes. You know, we have that in common regardless of, you know, where they are in life. So just a real unique opportunity that I really cherish taking advantage of. Because it is important to me. I mean, I was diagnosed at 20 years old, but I remember looking up athletes that had type 1 diabetes. So I know that kids are doing that now, and I'm a name that pops up for them. So, you know, if I get a chance to meet with them, even talk with them for 10 minutes, you know, that is easy for me to do. That's not a challenge, but that might be something that impacts their life in a positive way. And I'm going to jump at that opportunity every chance I get.
And we talked about it before, your type 1 diabetes diagnosis, treatment, it changed the trajectory of your life, your career, how you pitch. So you certainly, you continue to be so involved in those communities. All right, let's get to some of the fan questions I put out on social media. If you had a chance to ask Mason Miller a question, what would you ask him? So we'll run through some quick ones here. I think I know the answer to this because you grew up in Pittsburgh, but what team and players did you root for as a kid?
Pittsburgh Pirates was my team. Andrew McCutchen was the star, and you know, still was for a long time too. But growing up, he was the man in Pittsburgh. So I'm a big Andrew McCutchen fan.
All right, Pittsburgh Pirates. When did you first feel you had a real chance to play pro ball?
That's a hard question. You know, I even going my 5th year after COVID to Gardner-Webb, that was me going all in on baseball. But you know, no opportunity is guaranteed in this game. Injuries can take things away at any turn, any point. But yeah, going to Gardner-Webb was me going all in on baseball. So I think that was, you know, that's what I was pursuing.
Right. And for those of you who don't know, Mason has a tremendous story, was not a Division I player, and then ultimately goes to Gardner-Webb, gets drafted. And here he is now, one of the best relievers in the game. I like this question a lot that we got on social media. Do you check the velocity of your fastball during the game?
Sometimes. Yeah, it depends. So there's a lot of stadiums where it's almost unavoidable. It's behind home plate, or you know, you see it. But yeah, I catch myself giving it a peek sometimes too. You know, just kind of see where you're at, get a little gauge. You know?
Yeah, gives you an idea of kind of like how it's coming out, maybe versus how you feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. A lot of questions about arm health and arm care, I think, from a lot of younger baseball players or parents of players. What does that look like for you as far as your arm care, I guess, outing by outing, after you pitch, on off days? What does that generally look like during the season?
Yeah, I mean, your two primary areas to target are your shoulder and, you know, your forearm for me. Anytime I'm off the mound, I do some form of isometric shoulder work, isometric forearm work. You know, we have a great training staff here, so a lot of that program is done through them. But what's important to me, I think, is on those days that you're not pitching, still taking a chance to, you know, work on something, whether it's mobility, whether it's some extra strength, if you have a couple of days. You know, strength's the name of the game, and you know, you strengthen your arm by throwing a baseball. Your internal rotation strengthens every time you throw a ball. So it's about staying on top of external rotation. So that's not too skewed. Over the course of the season, you can see your internal strength get really high and your external get lower. So trying to balance that out in the middle is kind of been my strategy.
Good insight there. You were only in San Diego a couple of months, but do you have a favorite food spot in San Diego so far? Any place stand out, even if you don't have a favorite necessarily yet?
Yeah, we haven't had a whole lot of chance to go out. We went out, I think it was Gaslamp Breakfast Company.
Okay, nice.
That was a spot my wife and I liked for breakfast. But I think we only had like one true off day in San Diego after the deadline. So really didn't get a chance to check out a lot of spots. I'm open to suggestions for sure. Yeah,
and you got to be careful when you go out because you're a tall guy, very recognizable. Fans might swarm you. By the way, that's why we had to sit down for this interview, because I knew if we stood up, it was going to be totally wacky. I was going to be looking up. I like this question, another baseball question to wrap it up. When you're in the bullpen, most important pregame prep, your pitch reps or your mindset?
Mindset, 100%. I mean, I don't know how much fans get to really watch guys in the bullpen, but you see a lot of guys in the bullpen, it doesn't look great. But you care about how you feel once you get into the game and how you perform in the game. So, if you're really critical in the bullpen, you're going to have a hard time going out there and performing. So, it's bullpens for getting loose, the game's for performance.
All right, that was Sammy Lev with Mason Miller. And I got to say, for everyone out there, I learned a lesson, Sam, during this. I loaded the video and I played it through. And YouTube still throws ads in there. So I'm sorry to everyone who heard those weird. I'm sorry. It was not my fault.
We gotta get our guy Adam Klug to pay.
You know what
for
also
YouTube
is
Premium.
a problem? Is that I was signed in on my work email.
Right. Now we could have. I'm sure if you played it from the 97.3 account, like on the back end.
Yes, it would have been fine. I should have done that, Sam.
That's all right. People can deal with it.
It was just very funny.
There was a weird ad in there. I saw a lady's mouth and she's putting on.
It was
some
a dentist
sort of
thing, and then there was Viore, and I'm like, wait a second, is this ad placement or what? Like Joe Kudla coming on the show? All right, good job, Sam, with Mason Miller. He just seems like an awesome dude, and looking forward to seeing what he could do this year. All right, since Chris isn't here, we're gonna try a new game today: Sammy versus the fans. Give us a call, 833-288-0973. I'll explain on the other side, but it's a little bit different. So make sure you get in line right now. right. For just a little bit longer, it will be Sammy and Skraby. Tony Gwynn Jr. will head on over. I believe the Padres game, it's in the bottom of the ninth. The Padres are losing 7-2 to the A's. Michael King gave up 4 runs today, so not a great day for Michael King, but we're just going to keep on moving, Sam. We're just going to leave that in the rearview mirror, and everything's going to be fine with Michael King. Now, we are going to play a game, so we need some contestants. 833-288-0973. Get in line. We're going to play Sammy versus the Fans, where you will be qualified for a chance to win a pair of tickets to Field of Dreams Festival at Petco Park on June 13th, featuring Slightly Stupid, Sublime, and more. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Sam, you a big Slightly Stupid guy?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I love Slightly Stupid. Yeah. Yeah, OB. I'm an OB guy.
Oh, that's right.
Now, here's the thing about Slightly Stupid, about any of these like California reggae bands. I think that would be the kind of the genre or the grouping.
Yeah.
Here's what's in, like, Iration is probably my favorite. The interesting thing for me about all of this, I did not hear any of this until I got to San Diego. So I was finding out, let's say, about Iration songs that came out like 20 years ago, but they were new to me. So I would say to somebody like, "Hey, have you heard of this song before?" And be like, "Yeah, like that was a big song
forever ago."
School.
Yeah,
and I'm like, "Oh, it's new to me."
Yeah, I'm to trust.
But yeah,
me,
Iration, Slightly Stupid, Pepper.
Oh, I love Pepper.
Yeah, I've been to what's the read you just did?
Field of Dreams Festival.
Oh,
back at Petco Park. Sublime, Slightly Stupid, and more.
Right. Yeah, I went to a Slightly Stupid show at Petco Park. I want to say maybe 2023.
Oh,
and then I went to Iration at Gallagher Square last season at some point.
I need to take advantage of these things just a little bit more.
Yeah, get out there, Skraby. You got to live your life.
I texted Sam last week or one of those days when he told me that he was going out and hanging out with his mom. I was like, you know what? You inspire me to get out of the house. And then I sat in the house all weekend. So Sam's a mover and a shaker. He likes to do things. He likes to get out there and do things. All right, we do have callers now, so we can move into the game. Sam, here's how it's going to work. I'm going to actually have to take you off of the board so that you cannot hear the caller. Okay? So it's just while the caller is going, I'm going to hit you off on the board.
Will it help if I just walk away, take the headset off?
Sure, yeah, you can take the headset off, but don't do it just yet.
I'll take the headset off. In fact, people can on the stream can watch me. I'm going to keep an eye though. You'll just
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Okay.
For you to take off
when
the
you're
headset.
ready after I take my headset off, just like wave to me to come back to the computer.
I will do that. But here's how it's going to go. I have a bunch of Padres questions from 2025. I thought it would be fun to test Sam's knowledge, test the listeners' knowledge, and I'm going to play the Jeopardy theme. It's 31 seconds long. You're going to try to get as many answers as you can.
Okay.
And so we'll go with and it's really easy. If you beat Sam in this, you're the winner. There's not much.
So they're going to go first.
They're going to go first. So I'm going to put you. Or let me get the caller on the line.
This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. You can take me off just to show the people out there that I can't hear. I'm going to take the headset off.
Okay.
I'm going to lower my camera here, and I'm going to go sit on the couch over there so people and I cannot hear. Watch. I'm taking the headset off.
And then I just turned it off so Sam can't hear anything. I love this. So he's going to go and sit on the couch apparently while we do this. But let's get our contestant on the phone. Joey, are you there?
I am here.
Okay, Joey. Do you understand what you're being asked? I'm going to ask you questions, and you're just going to give me as many answers as you can, okay? Quantity, I mean, obviously correctness counts, but quantity also counts, all right?
All right, I can say pass if I don't know.
Correct. You could say pass if you don't know. So here we go. I'm going to give you the first question. Once I'm done asking the first question is when the timer starts. What player won a Platinum Glove Award for the Padres last season?
Tatis Jr.
What player won a Silver Slugger for the Padres last season?
Manny Machado.
How many games did the Padres win before their first loss to start the year?
413.
Who hit the most home runs for the Padres last season?
Let's go Sheets.
Sheets. You know what? I'm going to give you an extra time because that was too quick. Sheets, what team did the Padres beat 21-0 last season?
Oh, I don't know. Rockies?
Rockies. What team did Manny Machado hit his 350th career home run against?
I don't know. The Mets?
Okay. 2 Padres pitchers tied for the most wins with 13. Name one of the 2.
Let's go Dylan Cease and Pavetta.
Okay. The Padres. All right. That is it. All right. We gave you a minute. So stay right there, Joey. I'm going to put you back on hold. Sam Levitt can start heading back over here. He's on his couch. He sees me. He's walking back over right now. So when he gets on here, we'll start the game. All right, Sam.
You want to know what I did while that game was going on?
What?
Have you seen this video online of this kid who is like freaking out because they didn't get the right kind of hamburger? Did you see that?
No, but I need to look it up. Is the kid throwing a fit?
Yeah, it makes me. We can have a conversation.
Okay,
about it later.
all right,
Okay,
all right.
get to the game. Here we go.
All right, so here's the game. Actually, we're going to end up giving you a minute because that was quicker than I thought. So I'm going to play the Jeopardy theme twice. I'm just going to ask you questions.
Somebody commented when I went to sit on the couch, Sammy going to start swiping now.
And they also don't want you to fall asleep because last time Tony fell asleep, he sat down on the couch. All right, here we go,
Okay,
Sam.
yes.
All questions from 2025. 2 Jeopardy themes, and you'll see how many you can get. I'm going to ask the question, and then I'm going to start the timer. What player won a Platinum Glove Award for the Padres last season?
Fernando.
What player won a Silver Slugger for the Padres last season?
Manny.
How many games did the Padres win before their first loss to start the year?
7.
Who hit the most home runs for the Padres last season?
Manny.
What team did the Padres beat 21-0 last year?
Rockies.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to do another one. What? Wait, hold on. There it is. What team did Manny Machado hit his 350th homer against?
Ooh, man.
You can pass as well if you need to.
Pass.
Okay. 2 Padres pitchers tied for most wins with 13. Name one.
Pavetta.
The Padres won 10 games against 2 NL West opponents last season. Name one of the 2.
Rockies.
All right, and final one. Which Padres pitcher struck out the most hitters in 2025?
Padres pitcher that struck out the most hitters in 2025. It's got to be Pavetta, I would assume.
Pavetta. All right. Joey is still on the line. I'm going to bring Joey on. So both of you guys are done. Hello, Joey. Are you ready to check everything?
Let's hear it.
All right. So the first question, what player won a Platinum Award for the Padres last season? Both of you said Fernando Tatis Jr. Both of you were correct on that one. What player won a Silver Slugger for the Padres last season? Both of you said Manny Machado. Answer was
It wasn't.
Manny Machado.
Oh, it was. Okay.
How many games did the Padres win before their first loss to start the year? Joey said 13. Sam said 7. Answer is 7 for Sam.
Yeah.
Who hit the most home runs for the Padres last season? Joey said Sheets. You said Manny Machado. Answer is Manny Machado.
Yeah.
What team did the Padres beat 21-0 last season? Both of you said the Rockies. Both of you were correct. What team did Manny Machado hit his 350th career homer against? You passed. Joey said Mets. It was actually the Giants.
I swear Giants was on the tip of my tongue.
It was a day game. I remember it. I think they
Giants
ended up
was on the
losing
tip of my
game.
tongue. That would, if I were guessing that, I'm not kidding. That was about to be my answer, but I wasn't sure.
I believe you. 2 Padres pitchers tied for the most wins with 13. Name one. Both of you went with Pavetta. Both of you were correct. The other, Adrian Morejon. And then basically, Sam takes the cake in this one. But Joey, because you are our test subject, you're going to win the qualification, okay?
Awesome, man. Thank you.
No problem. Stay right there. I think that's a decent game. I think I may have found something.
You know, I hadn't thought about that in a while. How about that? Adrian Morejon had 13 wins.
That's crazy, right?
That is wild.
That is wild.
That's wild for him. So again, and I haven't thought about this stuff in a while. So you're telling me that Morejon and Pavetta were tied for the team lead in wins.
Let me just double check, but I'm pretty sure.
That is remarkable that Morahone tied Pivetta.
Well, he always came in with the game tied.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
Wins going back to last year. Yep, both of them 13.
Wow, that's remarkable. Wow.
Also, you said which Padres pitcher struck out the most hitters in 2025. You said Nick Pivetta. It was actually Dylan Cease. Here are 4 more, Sam.
Oh, wow. You know what? That was silly. Wow.
It's okay.
Dylan Cease is so far from my brain now. That's really silly. Had you asked me this
3 months ago,
to be honest, that's so interesting. Cease didn't even enter into my.
You've already. I mean, you haven't seen him once the spring training. You're already on to 2026.
It was obviously Cease. Wow, he was not even like in my brain as part of that question. Yes.
4 questions quickly. 2 Padres pitchers pitched a complete game last season. Name one.
King had one.
Mm-hmm.
And King had one, and it was.
You're gonna kick yourself.
I don't think. Well, King had one. You're saying it's somebody I wouldn't expect?
Yeah.
Really?
Early in the year.
King had one.
Yeah, you're correct.
Early in the year, somebody I didn't expect pitched a complete game.
Yeah.
For
the first time in their career, I'm still giving hints.
Hold on. For the first time in their career, pitched a complete game.
I'm going to give another hint.
In the year.
This person is no longer on the team.
This is crazy. Why can't I remember this? Huh?
This person is no longer on the team. Stephen Kolek.
This. Oh, Stephen Kolek. Yeah.
In that 21-0 game.
It's so funny how
that is funny.
You would think that would be kind of etched in my brain, like doing post game after that.
Yeah. No, I mean, you do so many post games.
It was Colorado.
It was. It was. You do so many post games.
That's
so
weird that that doesn't pop. That's so weird that doesn't pop right in my brain.
Yeah.
That's really, I will say though, like I don't know how I'd put it. That's like maybe a difference between like calling a game and doing post game. Like if you called the game, there's no way you're going to forget that.
True.
But I wonder, wow, that's really, I can't believe that I didn't think about that. Wow.
It's okay.
Wow. You know what? But again, it's like these guys aren't on the team anymore, so they're not top of mind. Maybe
you don't need to explain to us. I think a lot of us are going through the Rolodex in our head of who did what now. All right, that was a decent game. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Joey. I'll get you in the break. On the other side, we are going to talk about Alex Verdugo for at least 2 minutes and see what Sam has to say about that. But Mark Sanchez, did you forget about that whole situation?
I haven't thought about it in a while.
Me neither. Well, there's some news that we can update on Mark Sanchez. So stick around. Some hot topics on the other side. Alex Verdugo, Mark Sanchez, 97.3 The Fan. First, traffic.
From the 8-5.
Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. 97.3 The Fan, Sammy and Skraby for just a little bit longer until Tony Gwynn Jr. makes his way over from that Peoria Stadium to his humble abode. I believe they're calling it Narnia because of all the closets that he has in his place. But Sam, do you know where Tony and them are at? Are you close to them? Or why don't the Padres put you up in something like that?
What are you talking about?
Tony's place, like the Padres.
My housing?
Yeah.
Oh.
What are you talking about?
No, sorry, I was putting on my headset. Well, my housing falls under the station.
True.
So, to be honest with you, the situation with my housing is really good because here's the deal. This is what happens with Adam Klug and I. My first time at spring training, this was my second season, and Adam handled the housing. Now, this is not me throwing Adam under the bus.
That's a tough job. It really is.
It's very difficult to find somewhere that's affordable for 6 weeks. I mean, it's not the easiest thing in the world. And I think there are a lot of teams out here in Arizona who this is not like an easy task when you're talking about this level of this number of people that have to get very short-term housing. And with the Padres, it's all over the place. You've got some people in hotels, you've got some people in apartments, you've got some people in extended stay places.
Gotcha.
So we booked an extended stay place, and I think I've talked about this many times before, and I talked about it during the course of 2023 when I was there. It wasn't great. And I don't have super high standards. I'm really not a diva. I'm really not look, I lived in a lot of places before I got to San Diego, and some of them weren't great.
Yeah.
I didn't need much to be happy as far as my living situation. This place, it was bad. It was bad. It was a tough hotel to spend 6+ weeks in. It was. Put it this way, there were multiple cockroaches during my time.
What?
Yes. Okay. That's
were Chris and Frank like inhabiting your room or something?
That's all you need to know.
Okay.
I'm not even saying the place. I'm not even throwing the place.
We're gonna move right on because cockroaches are some of the grossest things in the entire world.
Yeah,
I had a cockroach infestation in San Francisco, and it was disgusting.
Okay. So I bring that up because the next year I said, I'm not staying at that place again. So this is how we're going to do it. You tell me what's the budget, and I'm going to try to Airbnb this and do it myself. And Adam, this is the great thing about Adam. Adam really, it's at least for me, he lets me do my thing. Same thing with this. Like, hey, as long as it's the right price and it's within the budget, he doesn't care. He's like, do whatever you want. Whatever you want to do is good. Just it has to be in the budget. So, I've now taken it upon myself to get the Airbnb, and this is actually my third consecutive year at this Airbnb.
At the same one. That's nice because you know what to expect. Now, I have always thought, what if
and it's a good place. It's nice enough.
Yeah,
it's very good. It's well kept. The guy who runs it, I know pretty well now. So, and it fits under budget. So back to your original question. It's kind of nice because I kind of get to dictate my own housing, and that's kind of nice.
That is nice. Having control over a situation is nice. I've always thought, what if for some reason you're off calling the Yankees now because that's what you're destined for, and they said, Skraby, you need to go out there for 6 weeks. Does your place allow pets? Because I would have to bring my dog with me.
That's a great question, Skraby. I don't know. I never worry about it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
True.
I don't know what this Airbnb's policy is. I'm sure there are Airbnbs that do, but I can't imagine it's all of them. That's a good question.
No, it's not all of them because I've looked into this before, and some of them are okay with dogs, and then some of them charge a lot for dogs.
I think things like that are doable. I'll give you an example. I believe AJ Cassavell has his dog out here.
Oh, Moose.
I think he may be in an Airbnb as well. So, yeah.
I believe
AJ's got his dog. I know that, or at least did have his dog. I don't know if it went back to San Diego or at some point. But
he just sent him home.
He had.
He was like, "Go home."
Bad dog.
Jocelyn says she's from Phoenix. Where was it, Sammy? It was down Bell Road, wasn't it? And I'm not going to make you say which gross place.
I'm not saying which one. Wasn't on. I don't want to say.
Okay. All right. Let's move on.
Who's sponsors, who's in talks.
That's a good idea.
I really, and I know not everybody on our station abides by this, I really try not to trash brands because you just never know who's
When
a
you
sponsor,
okay, you're right.
who's talking to who.
This is when Matt
policy is
Skraby
I don't
needs
trash
to
brands.
shut it and move on. We're going to talk about Mark Sanchez in just 1 second, but Alex Verdugo, he signed a minor league deal with the Padres over the weekend. I know what they're doing. They're trying to maybe strike while, get something out of Alex Verdugo. He's 29 years old, so he still has some age on his side, but he hasn't been great in the last couple of years. I mean, what do you, is this just a depth move, hoping that he does more, or what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, well, before I get to the player, here's what's funny, and I told this story this morning. So I'm sitting there yesterday. I didn't go to the game yesterday because my mom was still in town, and I had some plans with her. But I'm sitting there. It's kind of late. It's like maybe already like 12:30-ish, 1 o'clock, something like that. Sitting on the back patio. Guy comes out of the lunchroom. Looks like Alex Verdugo. This is before there was any reporting. This was before anything. I personally, and I'd say if I did not hear anything about it.
Yeah.
And it looks like Alex Verdugo. And
he's noticeable.
I'm looking at him. I'm like, and he's got the beard again.
Okay.
Post Yankees.
Yeah.
And I'm looking, I'm like, that looks like Alex Verdugo. But I'm like, it's not Alex Verdugo.
Yeah, why is Alex Verdugo
Since when?
here?
I'm like, why would he be here? So he walks by and he's walking out to the backfield. And I'm like, I think about it for like a minute. I'm like, looking, I'm like, that was weird. It must be a minor league coach or another minor leaguer that really looks like Verdugo. And then like 3 hours later, I see Kevin reporting, and I'm like, oh, it was Alex Verdugo.
Man,
nobody looks that much like Alex Verdugo who isn't Alex Verdugo. So
I guess they weren't trying to keep that under wraps. Because...
Yeah, look, Skraby, in a baseball sense, he struggled a lot the last couple of years. The numbers have not been good. He's also not in major league camp. I mean, he's been assigned to minor league camp. Now, that doesn't mean he won't get some at-bats in the Cactus League games. I would assume there's probably a good chance he will, especially with the guys out for the WBC. But I don't view it as like a significant move. I mean, he wasn't even invited to major league camp. So
yeah, that does change things.
To me, it sounds like if you signed a minor league deal in your minor league camp, like you'll be in the minor leagues in all likelihood to start the year.
Yeah.
Could you see him if he does some good things in the minor leagues? And does he provide, I don't know if depth is the word, but another option down there, and you give him an opportunity to
maybe a lifeline
to go do something? Yeah, I wouldn't make a huge deal out of it. I think maybe I'd make a bit of a bigger deal out of it if he were on a minor league deal and put a major league camp. And but they've got, again, we talked about the outfield options earlier. Guys like Bryce Johnson and Samad Taylor who are already here and doing some good things. Yeah, I don't view it as a major signing, but who knows? At some point in the year, I suppose you could see him. But it would seem to me, and again, I have very little info on it. I haven't talked to him. I haven't even talked to Craig Stammen or AJ Preller about it yet. I might at some point, but I would kind of assume that he's going to be in the minor league.
It was noteworthy because his name carries noteworthiness. I mean, it's kind of going away, but there were a few years there where he was a pretty good player.
I mean, Skraby, he was one of the key guys in the Mookie Betts deal.
That's true.
That went from LA to Boston.
So you have to be pretty good to be involved in that.
At one time, I mean, that was a name that certainly carried a lot of weight. And, the interesting thing is, not so long ago, he was starting for the Yankees and somebody they were really relying on a good team.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting part of it. But you look at the last couple of years, and the numbers and the OPS have not been very good. So I don't know is the answer.
That's fine.
I would assume that he is going to be in the minors somewhere to start the year. I would imagine probably in El Paso. Maybe you see him at some point, but again, minor league deal without the invite to major league camp. Doesn't mean you won't see him in the Cactus League games, but you probably won't see him a ton. So interesting, but and I guess newsworthy because of the name, but
yeah, but otherwise,
aside from that, I don't know that
just-
it's a huge deal.
All right, quickly, Mark Sanchez, you might all remember in October 2025, he was stabbed by someone. And so that person, Perry Toll, is now they're going through like a lawsuit, and it's very confusing because the people for Mark Sanchez want to keep it a federal lawsuit, but Perry Toll wants to keep it a state lawsuit. Don't understand all of that, but what they're alleging is that quote, they believe he was under the influence of one or more substances during the incident. From the court filing, quote, this is including but not limited to cocaine, marijuana, fentanyl, and alcohol. Plaintiff has cause to believe that one or more of these substances may have been consumed in one of Hughes's establishments, which caused or contributed to Sanchez's impairment and his subsequent negligent and or knowing conduct. So this is like the first real update that we had from this story. And they're saying that the Indiana-based Hughes Culinary is also a part of this because they believe that they overserved Mark Sanchez, which put him in the state that he was in. But this is a crazy story. Mark Sanchez seems to be doing okay now after being stabbed, but there is the truck driver who was being quote unquote attacked by Mark Sanchez has not been charged in any of this, but Mark Sanchez has been charged. So that's why he's going to have to go through some criminal stuff. But anyway, I wanted to bring that update because it's a very strange story. The video of him walking around downtown Indianapolis, very strange. He does, I can't say for sure, but he does look like he's under the influence. Looks like me on some of those videos when I used to be a drinker, hitting walls and things like that. But I don't know. There's no real breakdown, Sam, so you don't have to like come up with anything great about Mark Sanchez.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I other than what you just said, I don't know a ton about the story. I mean, I remember when it happened. Obviously, he seemed to have thrown away what was a pretty good broadcasting gig.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just looking at. I'm reading this article. Oh, St. Elmo State. I've been there actually. To St. Elmo's. Yeah, I don't have much on it.
Okay.
I gotta read this.
Yeah, it's kind of
honestly, I gotta read this story.
Not until we get some more like court proceedings, and then we'll get some
all I can say is I have been to St. Elmo's.
Did they overserve
steakhouse? No.
Okay.
No, but they had I know this is taking this thing in a different direction, but they had the shrimp cocktail, like it's supposed to be super spicy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like really spicy. I don't know that I did I have it? Yeah, I think I did. I remember it was pretty spicy. Yeah. I was there because I went to the Big Ten championship. Northwestern was in it against Ohio State. That's why I was in Indianapolis.
Oh, that is okay.
Before we got dinner there. Yeah.
All right. Well, Sam frequented a place that is now going to be infamous with Mark Sanchez terror on the streets of Indianapolis. That may have been a little bit too much. Terror on the streets of Indianapolis. Well, anyway, I've heard from Tony Gwynn Jr. He is going to be in place and ready to go by 4 p.m. So that means Sammy and Skraby for one more segment. And Sam, you were telling me you spoke with Garrett Hawkins, a guy who's trying to make the team, and you said they might be interesting for fans to hear about him. So we'll hear about Garrett Hawkins when we get back here. Sammy and Skraby filling in for Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Woods.
Now, Craig Stammen joins us here, Padres' new manager. And Craig, listen, I've had the opportunity to play for two managers that were in their first year, Don Mattingly and the late Ryan Sandberg in Philadelphia. Both of them had their struggles. Even though these are the best of the best type of players, they had their struggles. Where do you see yourself in terms of your staff and leaning on your staff to kind of be able to help you in those first year kind of struggles that many managers deal with at some point?
You're right. I'm going to lean on my staff a lot. And I remember having, small conversations with Bob Melvin about some of this stuff. And he was talking about some of the things he wished he knew when he was a first-year manager. And this was way back when I wasn't even thinking about this. We were just kind of talking. And he's like, I wish that I wouldn't have tried to do everything myself. He said, I felt like I had to be involved in everything and I had to be a part of every decision. And he goes, it's just not the case. He goes, there's a few things that I do need to be in charge of and as the manager, but I got good people around me. If I got good people around me, I just got to be able to trust them.
Right.
That'll be the hard part. But we're going to build that trust within the clubhouse, within the coaching staff. So I'm not doing it all myself. We're going to share responsibility. We're going to share the successes. I'll take the blame, and then we'll see where the dust settles. But I'll, obviously, hopefully gain a lot of experience where we get to the end of the season and we're in that playoff hunt.
Yeah.
That we're rolling and we're humming and we got a good process going.
Now, you mentioned, kind of building off what Mike has done here the last couple of years, adding to his legacy. You obviously have your own strengths, though. Where do you see your strengths being able to be applied to this ball club and how it may be of help?
Yeah, Mike had so much experience of organizing, how to be a great baseball team. He'd been mentored by many great managers, right. And he'd taken a lot from those guys. And I just listened to what he had to say about that stuff, and I saw how he did it, observing and listening to how he kind of went about his business. So a lot of the things that he did, I'm going to probably keep doing the same thing. What I think I can add is maybe just I'm a little younger. I got a little bit more energy.
Yeah.
I've got some relationships within the clubhouse that are maybe a little bit different. Does that give me the avenue to push them in a little bit different way, or like sneak in there to get them to do a few things that they haven't been quite open to in the past? Maybe I don't know. We'll find out. But, I'm going to treat them, with respect and hopefully get that respect back. And we're going to try to make this team as best they can be.
Craig Stammen joins us here, Padres' new manager. And Craig, you're clearly coming this with your eyes wide open with this situation. I heard you say partnering on multiple occasions up on the stand there. What does that look like for the fans who are listening and may not know what partnering looks like? What exactly is that?
Yeah, partnering, it's a give and a take. We have relationships with our families, our moms, our dads, our wives, our kids. It's not always my way or the highway.
Right.
There's got to be, even in this decision to become the manager, there was a lot of give and take with me and Audrey, deciding what was important to her and what we were going to miss by taking this, what was important to me, what I was going to miss in this, and then coming to a decision that works best for both of us. And I think those types of things can happen throughout the year with players, trying to get them on the field to do certain things in practice or in the game, but like partnering them in the way that's like, it's not just my decision.
Right.
We're in this together. We're accomplishing a goal together. It's not my, championship that we're going to win. It's our championship. It's the Padres championship. It's AJ's, it's John's, it's Eric's, it's Manny's, it's Toddy's.
Right.
It's all of ours together. It's Ruben's. We share that success together. I'll handle the blame, and then we'll do this together.
Last one, I'll let you get out of here. I know you got a busy day ahead of you. Mike Schilt did a terrific job of really shielding his players. He always was the man taking all the arrows coming at the ball club. But you also mentioned being able to push the guys. What does that look like? Because I think oftentimes fans hear, managers take the arrows and they're under the impression that there isn't any, pushing going on the backside of that. What does that look like sometimes?
Yeah, I mean, we got great players. So, like, the amount of pushing I need to do is limited.
Right.
But we can give them new ideas on how to navigate a season. And Mike was so good at, like, handling the players and taking the arrows, like you said, in the media and throughout the season and pumping those guys up and making them feel great. But there's ways that, like, maybe they haven't been exposed to, and that's what we're going to challenge our staff to do, is come up with creative ways to keep Manny Machado, healthy for a full season. Xander Bogaerts healthy for a full season as they get a little older in age, and can we have guys peaking at the right time and stuff like that? Just like open to new ideas and creative ideas, and the players will be partnering with that with the coaching staff to create something that we think will build us a championship team.
Now, Craig Stammen joins us here, Padres' new manager, and Craig, listen, I've had the opportunity to play for two managers that were in their first year, Don Mattingly and the late Ryan Sandberg in Philadelphia. Both of them had their struggles. Even though these are the best of the best type of players, they had their struggles.
If you love Mediterranean food, try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean cuisine in Coronado or La Jolla for dining or takeout options. Visit spiroscuisine.com. Matt Skraby, Sam Levitt, for another 20 minutes or so. Tony Gwynn Jr. will
I went
join the show at 4.
a really good Mediterranean place in Goodyear.
Oh,
a couple days ago.
Was it as good as Spiro's? Because I don't think so.
No.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you very much for saying that, because they're going to be.
I enjoy my
carrying a
Spiros. I've
bunch.
had it at Petco Park a handful of times.
Yeah, me too. I've even been to this. You know what's really good? They're fries.
No, I'm going to be honest. I'll be honest. I have not been to Spiros outside Petco Park, but I've seen it, and I've been meaning to go to the one in Coronado.
The one in Coronado is great.
So-
It's got a great view of the downtown area. Chris and I did a broadcast from there. Should have brought a tent
Wow.
because I didn't put on any sunscreen and my face was peeling for like 3 days after that. But I think Spiros is great. So go check out Spiros. Visit spiroscuisine.com. Now, one of the things that Sam does on a daily basis when we're all sleeping in our beds or getting ready for work, Sam is in the Major League clubhouse talking to players. And let me tell you something. It's not easy to talk to the same players all the time. So I appreciate Sam bringing us some different players. Garrett Hawkins, we'll hear from him in just a second, but you caught up with him.
Yeah, and you're right. Look, spring training's a really interesting time of year because we're here for a long time, and you can't interview, the Mason Millers, Manny Machados, Fernando Tatis Jr.'s every day.
Yeah.
You just can't. Okay. And keep in mind also, you talk to these guys a lot throughout the year. So you can't burn it all out.
You can't bombard them
by
in
the end of
first
March.
day.
And to be totally honest with you, and there are always things to talk about, but you have to be mindful that it's only March. And the first week and a half, 2 weeks tend to be very, very busy with a lot of TV cameras and a lot of scrums, and then it kind of slows down and it goes through the ebbs and flows the rest of spring. So Garrett Hawkins, young pitcher, very, very talented, and I think it's becoming pretty clear that he's going to be a part of the Padres' plans. He's done a very nice job in the Cactus League, throws the ball pretty hard. For context, last season, he had a stretch between high A and double A of 38 consecutive scoreless innings. He posted a 1.50 ERA.
Wow.
On the year between the two levels. He struck out 80 batters in 60 innings. He had a really, really, really good season last year in the minor leagues, got up to double A, and I think it's somebody the Padres are excited about, and he's done some good things in Major League camp. He's not a 40-man guy. I'm not sitting here saying he's going to make the bullpen on opening day. He'll be in the minors to start the year, but I would put him in a category of if he has a good year in the minors, like I kind of put him in the Bradley Rodriguez category of last year, where I would not be shocked if this guy is up at some point this year, certainly next year. So he's somebody certainly to keep an eye on. He's like another one of these embarrassment of riches guys as far as, kind of high octane guys, relievers the Padres have in the system. Bradley is certainly another guy in that category. So he's somebody you should be excited about. He's also from Saskatoon in Canada.
Okay.
So yeah,
I love how Sam
guy.
knows all this stuff about these
grew
people.
up in a small town outside Saskatoon, if you've ever been there. So he's an interesting guy, and he's been very, very good for a while now.
All right, let's we have two clips. Here is the first one. This one goes over a couple different things. So here is Garrett Hawkins with Sam.
If you look at what you did last year, you had just a remarkable run of scoreless innings and dominance. How would you sum up what last season was in the minor leagues?
Yeah, I think just a good bounce back year coming back from injury. Was really happy to kind of just get on the field, especially at the beginning of the year. Was just kind of happy to be out of the complex and back in an affiliate. And I think that's kind of just what I took during the year, just not trying to think too much and just kind of take it day by day and just be happy to be there. And I think I just played a lot looser and just trust myself a bit more.
From a pitching standpoint, what do you feel like worked last year?
I think, just staying loose, not trying to overthink things, just trying to throw the ball hard, I think is the biggest thing for me. Kind of got into like a slump where I was just trying to be too robotic and thinking too much. Just trying to feel kind of what's working and just, not overthinking.
During the run, I mean, you didn't give up a run for almost 4 months. I mean, it really was a remarkable run in the minor leagues of dominance. What was that period like for you? Did you feel in a groove? Was it just a stretch where every ball bounced right? How would you sum up what that run was?
Yeah, I think a bit of both. Definitely outings where knew I didn't really have my A stuff and just kind of worked out that way. but yeah, just kind of felt into a groove. Just trusted myself a bit, and yeah, defense behind me definitely helped me out. The auto, I remember Leo made a, it was just like a looper behind him, made a great catch to save the game. So stuff like that for sure happened. And yeah, just trying not to think too much and just throw the ball.
After such a great season as you come into 2026, wherever you might start, what do you feel like the, I suppose, next level is for you? Where are you trying to get to this year, no matter what level you started and where you end?
Yeah, I think just this kind of camp has helped a bit, just getting that kind of what it'll be like up there. I think that'll be the biggest step, just kind of seeing how I'll react to maybe, I don't know, getting a hit around a bit and the environment of Petco or wherever it might be. So yeah, that'll be the big step, and just that's what I'm kind of taking away from spring is just the kind of level of where everyone's at.
Yeah. Do you feel like that's part of your development process, not just figuring out how to get guys out, but when you have a bad outing, how to bounce back from it, I suppose, both mentally and pitching wise?
For sure. Yeah, that'll be the biggest part, especially kind of last year was, I don't know, got into a groove and it was kind of maybe got too comfortable. But I think that'll be the biggest step is just kind of how I'll bounce back outing to outing and just the environment of it all.
Like I mentioned at the start, this is your first big league camp. Obviously, you have steps to go before you make a major league debut, but has this been good for you in a sense of maybe it feeling real close? Like, do you feel like no matter how long you're here in major league camp, this maybe gives you kind of an extra boost of, hey, I'm getting there?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And yeah, yesterday too, got to face some of the Giants starters.
Yeah.
So that was a big step, I think, for me, just knowing like my stuff will play here. And it's just kind of, same thing, just how I'll react to being up there. So, yeah.
All right. That was Garrett Hawkins with Sam Levitt. At some point, I think it was earlier today. But first, before we get into talking about Garrett Hawkins, I totally forgot that we need to deliver our traffic report to everybody out there.
From the 855 Kent Ross Traffic Center. Injured? Demand justice. Demand Jurowitz. 855GetRoss.com. Here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by the Caltrans Stormwater Program. Visit cleanwaterca.com. Got a few problems here. One of them, a ladder in lanes, northbound 15, right before Friars Road, a metal ladder, and looks like a vehicle hit it. Now we got metal debris all over the place. That's north 15 before Friars. Also on the Kettner on-ramp to southbound 5, a collision, and southbound 805, an accident right before Nobel appears to be blocking the HOV lane.
Welcome to Trash Talk. Our guest, Chip Bag. What's up, Chip?
Been on the road a lot.
That's not where you belong.
Right, because then litter gets in our waterways.
Let's change this.
Put me in the bin. That is where I belong. Visit cleanwaterca.com.
From the Caltrans Stormwater Program.
All right, there you go. Ladder on the roadway, always with in the afternoon for some reason, Sam, there's always a ladder in the roadway. Back to Garrett Hawkins. So you were we just heard from him. Now, I do like a guy who's able to go 4 months without giving up a run. And you were talking about like the mentality of everything. That's a pretty, I would say that's a pretty tough thing mentally to get through. Like every pitch your streak could end, but he went for what was the actual number? 38. 38.
Yeah, 38 consecutive scoreless innings.
That's
it was
crazy.
about 4 months.
That is crazy.
Between giving up runs.
I was going to bring up the other clip, but as you know, Sam, I'm here by myself, so let me do it real quick. I did not do this very smooth whatsoever. I'm not going to put this one on the camera. Okay, I got it.
I was ready to fill some time.
Say, well, you can fill some time in just
By
a
the
second.
way, before you play this clip,
Yes.
I just want to point out, like, we are such a unique radio station that on the afternoon drive time show, we're sitting here talking to minor league pitchers. Like, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's actually very fun to be in a place where this kind of plays and the Padres are so important. I was just thinking, like, where else? What other city would they be doing this?
Nowhere. Really. I mean, we are a very unique sports town because I grew up in the San Francisco area. I mean, if it wasn't the 49ers, then it was maybe the Warriors. If it wasn't them, it was the Giants, maybe the Sharks. But you're right. And people cannot get enough Padres stuff. And so that's why you're out there, and that's why we bring it to you. But here's Garrett Hawkins continued with Sam.
Well, Garrett, first let's start with your time here at Major League Spring Training, your first time in Major League Camp. The results in the Cactus League games have been really good. How has this experience been so far?
Yeah, it's been really good. I'm just kind of taking it all in, being around all these great players. And yeah, just getting into the environment of kind of big league spring training game and kind of simulating kind of what that'll be in the future. And yeah, happy to be here.
You mentioned being around all these great players. This is an especially unique situation because this is a really good bullpen with some really good relievers.
Yeah.
What has it been like just being around this level of talent in this bullpen?
Yeah, for sure. Kind of going back to like the Camp 44, just kind of seeing where everyone's at. And like, yeah, you kind of just want to step up your game to kind of be where they are. And yeah, great group to learn from. Yeah, have some of the best bullpen arms in the league. So yeah.
Any guys in particular that you've gravitated towards that have kind of taken you under their wing?
A bit of everybody. I mean, you always look at Mason, kind of was closing last year a bit, and just kind of see how he goes through his routine and stuff like that. Yeah, Estrada, kind of similar guy as me. And then Pavetta being the other Canadian, I think he's kind of making sure I'm finding my way around here.
With Mason in particular, I mean, he's, maybe the best reliever in the game right now, certainly most electric reliever in the game. What's it like having a front row seat to not only see him pitch, but also see how he works?
Yeah, I don't know. You probably couldn't ask for a better guy to learn from for sure. Yeah, definitely don't like pepper with him with like a bunch of questions and stuff like that, but kind of just watching how he goes about his business and kind of see how it translates to the field.
I find that very fascinating, Sam. The whole, how does a younger player go up to an older player? Because I understand, like when I first got into radio, I wanted to ask all the questions, but I could tell I was annoying everyone. So I had to like learn when it was time to ask the questions. Also, I love baseball players because if you look at Garrett Hawkins and you saw him just out and about, he would just be another normal dude, but he is a professional pitcher. So go check those out.
Yeah,
on
he's
Twitter.
I like him. I hope he makes it, and I'm excited for him. I like him. He's got a nice personality. He's big and tall. He's kind of like got a little gentle giant feel to him.
You see, you never know how big these guys are because obviously we don't have a ruler next to them, but Mason Miller.
Garrett's big.
Mason Miller's also huge.
Mason is a big guy.
Yes.
I don't think people realize how tall Mason is. He's tall, he's broad.
Yes.
Yeah, Mason is one of those guys that when you stand next to him, or if you're a fan, you see him in person, you say, wow, you're wowed. It's like, wow, he's a big dude. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not
sure.
I'm not like short. I'm not tall. I'm 6 feet tall. So usually I'm not that much smaller, but Mason Miller, when I was interviewing him, I had to like look up at him and all that.
I said it. I don't know if we got to the part where I said it during my interview with him earlier, but I said to him, we sat down for this interview because there's no way we were standing up during this interview with me and you. So we sat down so we could be a little bit more level. Yeah, it was going to look, if we were standing up on camera, it was going to look ridiculous.
You and Mason Miller. Oh, yes.
Miller,
I mean, I would sit down too because he's that much bigger than everyone.
Right.
All right. Well, thanks, Sam. Tony Gwynn Jr. is going to be joining the show here.
You know what? If you don't mind, I'll stick on here for a few minutes when Tony comes on, and we can do a little crossover.
Please, we'll do a little crossover when we get back. Tony Gwynn Jr. joins us on Gwynn and Chris 97.3. Wait, I gotta wait for the music. That's what I gotta do, Sam. I just almost went to break like we were in the middle of the hour.
You're all over the place, man.
Yeah, I've been doing okay until like the last 5 minutes. Everything has been crazy.
You got a lot on your plate. You got a lot on your plate.
It's okay. Another thing about radio is that the only city in America with an afternoon show with the guy who's hosting doing the board as well. So I shouldn't say that because Adam has asked me a million times if I needed help, and I told him no. So that was unfair of me to bring
Adam's got 3 kids. He's got a lot to do.
Yes.
So
all right. Tony Wood Jr., Sam Levitt, Matt Skraby back on 97.3 The Fan. What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris,
I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight and back left.
Straight back left.
Straight around that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good.
Wow. Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfus and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like them.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh? I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, it's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Brewers, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over here. So.
What are you thinking to see it for the first time?
I'm thinking
I'm hot. I'm quite warm right now, but it's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was going to be. I mean, who not too many people can say they have a dad that's enshrined in this place. So I think this is awesome.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. See where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris,
I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight and back left.
Straight back left.
Straight around that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good.
Wow. Just like I told you, next to the famous Barney Dreyfus and Leslie Wilkinson, whoever they are.
That does look like them.
I know. It's a good shot. They don't do them all that great. That one's good. Really good.
I missed a year. 300. Must have been bad. Huh? I used to be. Not anymore, though.
Oh, it's so cool. What team did you play on?
I can give you a long list of them. Brewers, Padres, Dodgers, Phillies, Nationals.
What position did you play?
I played outfield. This was my dad. Oh, there's Dick Williams, Goose. I think he'd be pretty happy with his company over here. So.
What are you thinking to see it for the first time?
I'm thinking
I'm hot. I'm quite warm right now, but it's cool. I mean, it's what I thought it was going to be. I mean, who not too many people can say they have a dad that's enshrined in this place. So I think this is awesome.
What are we doing, guys?
I'm going to see the museum for the first time ever. It's going to be sweet. See my dad's plaque. see where Trevor's plaque is going to be. It's going to be pretty dope.
Chris, I'm going to go to the Hall of Fame for the second time because I went earlier today, but I'm going in to see Tony go into the Hall of Fame. So all the way straight back left.
Straight back left.
Straight on that back wall.
This one?
Yeah.
How you feeling, Tony?
I don't know how I'm feeling right now, honestly.
Excited?
I'm definitely excited. Hello, Eric. How you doing? Pretty good.
As for all of you, Tony Gwynn Jr. in the house. Hello, Tony. How are you today?
How are you guys?
Pretty good. Sammy Lev in his house, wherever that is in Arizona. But
undisclosed location.
Yes, undisclosed location.
He doesn't have Narnia doors like me though. So he's not.
No, the Narnia Palace. So I asked Tony, what can we talk about from the game? And you said there wasn't much to talk about from the game today. Michael King gave up 4 runs. That's about it.
I'll give you something.
Okay.
I'll give you
what
something.
you got? What you got?
How about some not great umpiring in the corner, left field corner?
Oh,
Nick
good call.
Castellanos.
Good call.
Could have been a couple of ribbies, and instead it was a double play a couple of pitches later.
Yeah,
Tough
no, I mean, that's probably one of the few times, especially if I'm in Nick's position in spring training, I'm feeling a way about a call not going my way. Like usually you like it's spring training, you kind of just brush it off, but he's fighting for a spot, and you got my man. I mean, he didn't even move. Like he just turned around. Like you're supposed to like kind of run out there a little bit to get a little bit closer. He's standing like by third base, like on one knee, not even like attempting to go down there.
Right.
And then he missed the call. So I don't know. It's
not
it's
great.
Spring training.
It is spring training for everybody. But that is something that, like, I'll during the season, if I'm within earshot of Mike Winters, I'll often talk to him about various things throughout the year, and he'll always give credit to umpires for being in the right position during a play, and that is very, very important. It's something that doesn't get talked about a ton, but umpires aren't always in the right spot, and it's work to get into the right spot at the right time.
Most of the time, at least in my career, if I had something to say to an umpire on that, it was usually about positioning. It wasn't about the actual call, right? The argument typically is you weren't in a good position to be able to make that call, right?
Right.
My guy, I'm pretty sure it was a minor league type umpire. I think he wasn't in position, and so he missed it.
Yeah.
But outside of that, there was nothing to talk about that game.
Well, that's unfortunate because most of the guys from the WBC are gone now. So these guys are trying to, I guess, convert on the opportunity to make the team. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, Tony, but like how much can a guy gain here with some of the guys out at WBC? Like how many do you have to just be great through the entire time that they're gone?
Ideally, you want to be great, but the opportunity is huge, right? I mean, most of these guys are going to get anybody who plays in the outfield, anybody who plays in the infield at this point is going to get a lot more ABs because, or more ABs than they were going to get, right? In a typical spring training because of the WBC here. And so, I think they're going to be able to take longer looks at some of the guys who are fighting for extra spots in this whole kind of competition. And, all of the pitchers that are in the competition for it are all here. So that's going to still play itself out. So, I mean, there's still some things that I think we'll be able to talk about just today. Wasn't one of those wasn't one of those days, unfortunately.
Definitely not. Sam, just jump in there if you ever got anything to say. But I
I totally agree with Tony. We talked about it a ton earlier. It obviously provides opportunities for guys to play more, get more at bats, which can help them out this time of year as well. Look, it's an interesting, it's an interesting spot because you really look at, let's just focus on the position player group. There's really, I think, Tony, you look at it, as long as everybody stays healthy, you're talking about on the opening day roster, if you're assuming Song is making the team, which I don't necessarily assume, but I think it's a pretty good possibility, you're really looking at one spot, maybe two, as far as the bench spot. So that a lot of guys, including guys that are on the 40-man already, whether you want to talk about McCoy and Wagner and Johnson and, some other guys as well. It's, for guys that are not even on the 40-man, it's a lot of guys competing for one or I think max two spots. And of course that kind of, took shape after Andujar was signed, after Castellanos was signed. If it were a month and a half ago before that, you're probably looking at, the group of guys coming into spring training and saying, wow, there could be 3 bench spots, and there's just not that many. So it, bottom line, it gives somebody the opportunity to turn some heads and maybe make the Padres, force them to make a decision. And that's ultimately, I think, in spring training, what you're trying to do if you're a guy trying to make the team.
That's exactly what you're trying to do. I mean, if you're able to force the conversation,
right?
That's ultimately why guys want to come in who are in that spot and want to get off to good starts, right? They want to get off quick because, just think about Gavin. I mean, Gavin, it took about about a week and a half,
right,
of games before all of a sudden, and mind you, there were signs, right? He was hitting the ball hard. He just wasn't getting any love. But then he went on that homer streak, and it was like,
right.
And it just kind of took on a life of its own. And he had to come in like that. Like that's the type,
right?
Maybe not on that scale in terms of how many he hit, but that's the kind of impact when you're trying to make a team that you gotta kind of put together.
Right.
That's the way to put it into your own hands. Otherwise, you're hoping as a player in that position that everybody else is kind of struggling too. So the decision, can be based off of something else other than what's happening on the field.
Right.
So, there's this opportunity with those guys gone provides a ton of that.
Gavin's a good example, and I'll give you another good example from a couple of years ago. Tyler Wade was a good example of a guy who came in on a minor league deal and forced his way onto the team and essentially became, a definite part of the Padres for a couple of years and an important part of the Padres for a couple of years. So it's fully possible. And I don't mean this as a knock on any of the guys that are currently on the 40-man, guys like McCoy and Wagner and Johnson, but the Padres don't have any type of strong commitment to those guys. So if you're a guy that, comes along and you're a guy that's not on the 40-man, but you play really, really well, you've got a chance to go take a spot from somebody. So I think Wade, Sheets, those are good examples. Yeah.
You kind of made me think about it a little bit as you brought up somebody like McCoy, right? Here's where I think sometimes we can kind of get lost in, the bat or the hot offensive guy. Mason's the only infielder that if someone got hurt and they had to go out and put somebody in there that could catch the ball and make the play, he's the only one that they really have. You know what I'm saying? So although his value with the bat isn't great necessarily, right? He's not there for that, right? And when Bogey got hurt late in the season, a couple years ago, he had to be the one that filled in. Now offensively, obviously he's not going to bring what Bogey is, but you were okay with putting him out there because he could defend. And so, we the bats are obviously what we lock in on, but that's why the decision becomes so tough because yes, Mason doesn't do those things with the bat, but he provides something that those other guys don't provide when you need outs. And, I think it's just a matter of what you're valuing more at that point.
And
let me get this in real quick, Sam, before you go, because I have to. It's required.
Got
Sam
carried
Levitt
away.
joins us live from spring training, courtesy of David P.
Oh, how about
Shapiro.
that?
David P. Shapiro, criminal defense attorneys, helping good people regain control of their future when charged with a crime since 2010. Visit davidpshapirolaw.com. By the way, that one day when Sam was like a NASCAR driver and just like holding up all the different David P. Shapiro merchandise that he had, I saw on their Instagram account they really loved that.
I know, they
put
posted
that
it. I
up.
got it right here. It's clean. It's ready to be used.
It's ready to be used.
There
So
it is,
there you
right
go.
there.
All right, take it away, Sam.
Yeah. And you're right. That was something we had to get in the Sam Levitt sponsor read.
Yes.
I'll give you just two thoughts on what Tony said. Number one, I talked to Craig about McCoy after that game where he had an RBI hit late and he made a really nice play up the middle, Tony, if you recall. It was a game a handful of days ago. And one thing Craig said essentially was, talked about his defense and talked about him taking team at bats. Right. And to your point, like that's a guy who, you're right, in a bench spot or in a spot start, or if somebody gets injured, yeah, you need that guy to be able to play good defense, give you some team at bats, quote unquote, quality at bats, hold his own. Again, he's an interesting guy, right? That doesn't get a lot of attention, especially this time of year, because we kind of know his name and
we
there's
know
all
what
this
he's
talk
going to
about
do.
Right. Like there's all this talk about Miranda and all these guys that people want to talk about. It's like, hey, I'm Mason McCoy over here and I'm on the 40 man and I've been up a bunch the last few years. I'll tell you what. And my second thing was Bryce Johnson is kind of similar in the sense of like, if you're looking at the 40 man right now and it's like, hey, if somebody got hurt or if like somebody tweaks something and they're out for a few days and they're debating whether they're going to put them on the IL or not, classic situation you see during the season. On the 40 man right now, outfield wise, if that's a center fielder, really wherever, Bryce Johnson is that guy. Like clearly,
Bryce is the name right? The name you're comfortable with, right? And I think what's interesting about the Bryce thing is that as you start to see some of the other outfielders, right? Jace Bowen has been impressive. A super duper athlete out there.
Yeah, big guy.
Samad Taylor has played well as well, and they all, and so like when you're making the roster, as Stam's going to have to do, as Ruben, as age, all of them are going to sit down. You start to ask yourself who brings more to the table, right? You know what you're getting out of Bryce, but you got these other in terms of that particular spot in which you're asking, you got some other intriguing options out there too. So listen, we got a long way to go.
Long way to go.
Sure.
Long way to go. I'll give you one more thing before I get off after this segment that I thought was funny today that you may have missed on the backfields. You remember Jackson Merrill was walking around with his Holy Sheets shirt with Gavin slamming into the left field fence. Well, today on the backfields, fans had their own shirts with that image and Holy Sheets. I'm allowed to say that, right?
Yeah.
You're allowed to say
You're
that.
good.
Okay. Yes, kids, and Gavin, good sport, signed it for him. That was the highlight of the day from beyond the stadium, in my opinion.
I wonder if Jackson will get a word now about this one. He even started a trend with the fans. They got him now.
Well,
he had another one on today. He had another one.
He has
on
more
today.
than one.
Oh yeah, he had a different one on today. This was what do they call sheets? It has to do with milk.
Dairy bonds.
Dairy bonds, yeah.
He had a dairy bond shirt on today.
He did.
So maybe that was a kind of
love a guy,
a peace offering.
Yeah, I love a guy who's able to go up and sign a shirt that's making fun of him.
Yeah, what was funny is the kids kind of innocently asked him, Do you like the shirts as he's signing them? he looks up like totally serious, but like kind of joking.
Yeah.
But he's like, I hate him.
Of course he does. Why would he?
It was funny, but he was a good
I'd hate a
sport.
shirt that had me splatting on the wall too.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, that would be.
It is fun. It's a good fun.
He did say Gavin Sheets that he was lucky they had to get on a plane and go to San Francisco right after that game because no one was able to go out there and put like a chalk outline or something
on the wall,
like that.
Yeah.
We have a couple more minutes, but Sam, I wanted to bring this up before you leave. And now that we got Tony too, Do you guys know how to change your light bulb or your headlight in your car? No? Sam, no?
No, and this came up, Tony, because mine has gone out.
Yes.
So I got to take it somewhere around here to.
No. You can do this yourself, Sam. I think this is another video for you. You love making videos.
Don't try to shame us into no.
You're
don't,
right.
Don't
It would be.
fall for
You're actually right, Skraby.
It is a content,
but it's kind of like. Yeah, but it's like kind of not a serious. Well, it's like something that really needs to get fixed and done properly.
All you do.
So,
this is ridiculous.
I got to take.
Like, I don't actually know what kind of car Sam drives, but in your manual, you should be able to see the process for this, because I have changed all of my headlights and everything's been fine.
Well,
you change. Did you change?
Do you just change the bulb? Is it like changing a light bulb?
Basically, you just unclip it and then you clip the other one in, and then you put it back in its little spot and turn it.
It does sound easy.
It is really easy.
But how do you take the cover off? How do you take the plastic off?
Well, it depends on the car. My car, I had to go in through behind it, and some other if you Google,
I gotta go. What do you mean behind it?
Like open the hood and move some stuff around.
Talk about something I'm never doing. All right, I'm taking it to the place.
If you didn't ask those extra questions, he was just going to leave it. Like, you just pop it off and then you just unscrew the head of the light.
I will tell you, if you're telling me I can just literally from the front of the car pop off the plastic,
you got to go
take the
YouTube
bulb
this.
out, change the bulb, and pop the plastic back on, I'd give it a try. But if you're talking about opening the hood and stuff, then
no. I think
that's
listen
beyond
to
me.
this guy, Skraby over here. This guy thinks he's a handyman.
Guess what? When I drove my Prius, I didn't want to pay for new shocks, so I put my own shocks in the Prius myself.
Good for you.
It took me a long time. Trust me, I didn't. The job got done. Although I paid the price.
You probably had wires hanging out of things.
No, it wasn't like that. It was just like my car. It was hard to get the bolts off. I was like sweating like crazy. It was
Sam. Don't listen to this fool. Go ahead, do what you.
I will.
Do what you need to do.
I'm gonna take it in.
Everybody wants to know what car Sam drives, and that's why I didn't ask, because I don't think he wants everybody to know.
I don't. Don't we have sponsors and stuff? I don't want.
Yeah, we're not gonna say it. We're not gonna say it. Sam's always.
I'm very conscious of the sponsors.
You should
be. We got car sponsors.
We should be.
I don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Car sponsors.
Oh, sometimes you have to take out the car battery to get behind it, Sam. So good luck.
I wouldn't do
good
that.
luck. All right. Thank you, Sam, though. In all seriousness, appreciate you filling in for the guys.
Absolutely my pleasure.
You'll be back
I'm back on tomorrow, right?
Yes, you
2 p.m.?
are.
Okay. So
when we get back, we'll talk to Tony about what he did over the weekend. And we still have the Big Five to go. Chris is supposedly going to check in too at some point. So Tony Gwynn Jr. and Skraby next.
From the 855, Ken.
Gwynn and Chris, 524 here in the desert, 424 back in San Diego. Is it hot there as well?
It wasn't as hot today. I'll tell you, it was like 70, but over the weekend, I decided
I was there Saturday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's right. I was there Saturday. I was at Escondido watching Mount Carmel win the Open Division Girls Soccer Championship. Shout out to all the young ladies. Shout out to the boys as well. They win the Division III championship. So it was all good for MC this weekend. It was a terrific game. Both teams did really well taking the best weapons away. You know what I'm saying? They had the player of the year, and I believe her name is Josie Willis. See, they were able to shut her down, and they did the same on our end. But so it came down to PKs, and
that's nerve-wracking.
Which by the way is a really terrible way to end the game. You know, after
in a season,
what was it? It was 95 minutes of a game where these girls are like pouring it all out.
Yeah.
It has to be decided that way. But I guess if it's going to be decided that way, you want to end up on the right side of it. And we got out to a big lead. We were up like 2 goals. They closed the gap, and it just came down to the fifth round there. And we scored ours, and we blocked theirs. And, to see just people in general, I mean, it made it extra special because it was my daughters were involved, but just to see girls like that get to experience that. Like I remember high school sports very well even at this middle-aged years that I'm in right now. And I never got to that point, ever. And so to see them be able to celebrate like that was pretty cool.
That is cool. I can't imagine, I mean, losing at that, like you said, at that level in the season or late in the season, because I'm being real for a second. When I played my last football game in high school, it was a terrible feeling. It was like, man, I am never going to play this sport again.
And that was my oldest daughter. She didn't play. She played the first game of the playoffs, and then she didn't play the next 2. And she was definitely afraid that in that semifinal game when it all came to her kind of mind that, oh man, we could lose and that's it, and I'm not even out there.
Yeah, that
to
would
then
be
be on the
too.
opposite side of that and like be able to experience in that way was pretty cool. So shout out to the MC boys, MC girls for winning the championship. San Marcos was, that was the best team in my opinion all year. But it's tough to beat a team 3 times in the season. They beat MC twice, and it finally went the other way.
You know who? I'm very happy for your daughter. I'm very happy you got to come home for a weekend as well in the middle of spring training.
Boy, but it was like I was saying, it was like 91 in the stands. That Escondido High got the old school bleachers.
Oh yeah.
So it was like an extra 6 degrees there, and I'm sure if it was that hot at the bleachers on that turf, and they got black turf in the end zone, so the goalkeepers, I'm sure, were nice and toasty.
That sounds awful. and it's like the fake grass, right? Is that what turf? Yeah, turf
fake
is
turf.
Grass.
Yeah.
So it just reflects all of the heat right back up.
Right.
That's great. Right. That's great. I decided to take the dogs for a walk this weekend, thinking, oh, it's cold outside, and I wore sweatpants and a sweatshirt, and I had nothing under the sweatshirt.
Do you not read a forecast? Do you not?
No,
see
I do. But I thought it was
there was
early
nothing
enough.
in the forecast. How early was this?
8 a.m. or like 8:30. And
Dog, if it's going to get to 90, you got to think if it's going to get to 92, 93.
Yeah.
It's probably going to start pretty early, getting warm.
Yeah, I sweat my patootie off, and I was so mad at myself because I drenched my sweatshirt.
Was this your way of trying to do the trash can thing that we used to have to do back in the day when we were trying to cut weight and stuff?
What was the trash bag thing?
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been. I didn't really want to sweat as much as I did, but man, I do remember the trash bag. I don't know if that's allowed anymore, but it's probably not.
It's definitely not.
Tony and I played it the last years of all this stuff.
I remember it being a power, and some of the wrestlers would be in there cutting, and they would take off this thing and like be wringing it out. It was so wet. Yeah, no, it was crazy.
That is gross.
We lived in a wild west.
Yes.
Let's get to break.
Yeah, that's gross.
On the other side, Skraby's got a big 5 ready to roll. More Gwynn and Chris.
Ben and Woods on the Fan.
5:35 on the clock here in the desert. 4:35 back in San Diego. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, Chris Ello says he's going to join at some point. We'll see.
Yes, we will.
As we always will see. That's how we play it.
Yes,
with Chris, in these moments. So
did you like my text to him earlier? It was me nicely saying, yes, of course you can come on the show, but let's not do it inside of the gym where the basketball is bouncing.
Do you think that's what he would have done if you didn't mention it?
Yeah, I do. But they did kick him out last time because remember he was talking too loud.
He was too loud.
Yeah,
had to get out.
Oh man, someone just brought up something on the chat that I don't know. You know how Chris had an eye thing last week?
Yes.
I think it may have spread to someone else on the station. So
no, but we know that wasn't what it was in terms of Chris and his eye thing.
So he says. I'm going to ask him when he gets on.
He said he had an infection.
Well, someone else got it too. So
no, not that kind of. Don't do Chris like that. He's not even here to defend himself.
I mean, his eye juices just going everywhere, and
oh my gosh, knock it off.
You're saying I shouldn't bring this up to him?
No, you can bring it up to him, but he already told us what it was. He might snap your head off. So if you bring it up, don't be all sensitive. If he does,
I won't be sensitive. I'll just be like, I'm going to be over here washing my eyes out, Chris.
Yeah, you probably would try to just keep poking him. Yeah, all right. See,
anyway.
This is why he goes at you like that.
I get it. I deserve it most times. Come on.
All right. You got a big five, dude?
I do.
Do we got traffic?
Yes, we do.
Let's check traffic. Get some big five.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center. Injured? Demand justice. Demand Jurowitz. 855GetRoss.com. Here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is brought to you by San Diego Law Firm, fighting for your sexual harassment rights at SDLF.com. Plenty of stuff to keep you on your toes this afternoon, guys. Crash on eastbound 8 past Mission Gorge Road. Looks like that is over to the right shoulder. Also an accident on a Balboa on-ramp to South 15. Northbound 5 before 6th Avenue, stalled car in the center divide. North 5 Coastline before Delmar Heights Road, an accident blocking the HOV lane. Also, 2-car collision on East 56 past Carmel Country Road. It's over to the right shoulder. And northbound 15 near West Bernardo, accident blocking the 2 right lanes. Sometimes it's called a joke, a compliment, a hand that stays too long. If it's happening at work, you don't have to face it alone. San Diego Law Firm will help you fight against sexual harassment. Contact them at SDLF.com. That's SDLF.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, I'm broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Tony is out in Arizona for Padres spring training, and we're going to start with the WBC question. But I don't know if you've seen this controversy, Tony, about Miami of Ohio. They're still undefeated, the basketball team. We talked to Jerry Palm last week. He says that their schedule is not great, so they have to win their conference tournament. Bruce Pearl just outright said that they're not good, basically, and I'll play that. And then the athletic director of Miami of Ohio has responded, and I don't know if I could take a guy seriously when he spells you with an actual U. You are an athletic director, so we will get to it on when we get there, okay? Now, WBC Power Rankings came out earlier today, Tony. Oh my gosh, I didn't do this.
Number 5.
Are you laughing at the WBC Power Rankings? I know this is kind of ridiculous because there's only really like 3 or 4 really good teams. Brazil is number 20 if you're curious. But the Team Japan is number 1, followed by Team USA, then the Dominican Republic at 3. Japan is the defending champion, and they do have a stacked team. Tony, do you think any team in the WBC has a good chance to take down Japan? Let me ask it this way. Is it Japan's WBC to lose?
No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
I don't think it's I think it's up in the air, honestly. I could see any one of those. Who was the fourth team? Venezuela?
No, Venezuela was fourth, but third team was Dominican Republic.
I could see any one of those first three winning it. I wouldn't be surprised if Venezuela won it. Like I could see that.
Yeah.
But this certainly isn't Japan's to lose, in my opinion.
Okay. I mean, they do have a really good roster. I guess the pitchers are really good.
Tell me about the roster. Who's on the roster?
Yamamoto. We got Roki Sasaki. You got Shohei Ohtani. You got Shota Imanaga. And that's where I stop. That's where I stop.
You keep talking about this brilliant staff, and those guys all are very good, obviously.
Oh, would there be Murataki, who's on the White Sox? I don't know if he's playing in the WBC. Anyway, I'm going to stop on
the slugger.
Yeah, that guy. Why can't I remember his name right now?
I don't know. I'm not going to try, so.
All right. Well, Team USA has guys like Bobby Witt Jr., Cal Raleigh, Aaron Judge, Paul Skeens, Corbin Carroll.
I think the USA has the best roster on the whole thing.
I agree with that.
I'm not saying that because I'm from the US. I'm just saying I think talent for talent.
You know what? You've sold me. Team USA all the way. Team USA all the way.
So glad I was able to sell you.
Yeah. I mean, the power rankings, that has to be hard once you get past the first three.
How about just not do the power rankings? Let's just let the tournament happen.
Yeah, I guess that could also. But then they don't get the clicks, Tony, and they don't get suckers like me to click.
What do you need click for about that? Like, put something up there that we can click on that actually is meaningful. Would it be the power rankings? Give me a break.
All right. You're right.
Number 4.
They haven't played.
We want
quality, games
not
since
quantity.
2022. Or what is it? Every 4 years?
It's every
3 years they play this?
Every
Yes,
three.
it's 2023. They haven't played a game. So how are you making power rankings?
I don't know. You make great points over there. So I'll bring that up with the power rankings people. Now, this was not something I expected, but the Cardinals announced yesterday that they extended manager Ollie Marmol's contract for 2 years, taking it through the 2028 season. He's 39.
You didn't expect it, huh?
I did not. He was 39. He won 93 games the first year, won the division, got booted for the wild card, or from the they got swept in the wild card series, and then they went 71 and 91 in 2023, and in 2024 they had 83 wins, but last year they only won 78 games. So most of his seasons are very lackluster. Fans are not pleased with this move. I'm up first. Is Oliver Marmol the right guy for the Cardinals? No, he's not. He has not been good in the media. He's thrown players under the bus. He has, who was it? It was William Contreras. I always get those guys confused, but they had a disagreement about things that were happening. They just haven't won. And part of that is the roster. Yeah, you got to have a good roster to win, but this is a team who had 15 straight winning seasons before they had a losing season. And now they're having more losing seasons than winning seasons. So he is not the right guy for the job. Tony?
I don't know. I'm gonna say yes. He's the right man for the job. I think they're in a different direction. I think they have a new GM, and
Yes, they do.
And I believe it's Bloom, right? He's the
yes.
He's the GM,
Kyle Bloom,
and so I think he did a terrific job in terms of talent. You see all the talent that Boston has traded away since he left. That was all his guys. He got all those guys in there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that he's the guy, and I think those two will have a chance to kind of have a better working relationship. Not that Marmol didn't have Ollie didn't have a good relationship with the Blast team. I can't remember his name right now. It's some
Ollie Mar. Oh wait,
no, not Ollie Marmol. I'm talking about the GM that is now
Moslak.
Something like that. I think it's just I think they have some talent there, and I think if they can get some guys to pitch, they'll be all right.
Okay. All right. Well, Tony is the baseball expert, so when Oliver Marmol gets fired,
I started with I don't know.
That is true. That absolves you of everything you're about to say.
Number 3.
I don't know if you saw this, Tony, but the Texans have acquired former Lions running back David Montgomery from the Lions, but it's not the trade package that's surrounded with rumors. It's how it all went down. Apparently, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, who's a pretty trustworthy reporter, wrote in an ESPN article this one sentence in an entire article, quote, and at running back, the Lions' David Montgomery wants out, has a reasonable contract, and is 28, end quote. That is the sentence, and everybody ran with it. Montgomery actually had to deny this himself on Twitter, and then he was traded. So the rumors come out. Montgomery is gone. Tony, do you believe there was something there?
The rumor about what? Him wanting
he wants out.
Yes,
and he responded to that saying, like, did I? Kind of thing. Like, did I say that? You know.
I mean, I don't know. Does it matter whether it was true or not?
No, but I think Lions fans are trying to figure out if the team treated him poorly or not because they like him.
Lions fans do not care. They got Gibbs on their team. He's going to get the ball more now. Oh, wow. There's nothing for them to be upset about. Okay. I think this is a great trade for the Texans because the Texans are good. They were good this year, but CJ Stroud is best when he has a running game. Remember, they didn't have old boy all season long. I think
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon. Did he get shot? There was something some weirdness happened.
Yeah, I don't
him,
remember,
right?
but I don't believe it was getting shot. But 2 49ers have been shot, so you could be right. Who knows?
I can't remember, but I know that there was something weird going on with him. But either way, he was so good for them the year that CJ Stroud had his best season. And it seems like when he hasn't been around, including parts of last season, Stroud hasn't played as well. So maybe the thought is David Montgomery has been very productive. Now, we'll see if he can be productive, and I'm assuming he's going to be the lead back. So we'll see. I think this is a great move for Houston. I think it's going to help CJ Stroud more than anything else.
David Montgomery definitely has something left in the tank, and he's definitely pretty good. So I think this is a great move. I did not realize that Joe Mixon, he was they're going to part ways with him due to a failed physical designation. He also went on the NFI list, which is like non-football injury, and so there's mystery. I didn't know anything about this mystery.
I thought I read that somewhere. Yeah,
that's crazy. I mean, Joe Mixon was involved, when he was coming out of when he was in the draft with certain things, but for all I know, he's been great over the.
Did he go Cincinnati? Where did he go? Cincinnati?
Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Man, I'm like a trivia genius right now. Do I believe there was something there? I feel like the Lions do their players dirty, so
who
don't
got them dirty.
I just don't like them. The way they treated Calvin Johnson, I'll never forget, Tony.
Oh, okay.
I will never forget how they treated Calvin.
Calvin is what put you over the top.
Megatron was one of my favorite players in the NFL, and they hated him so much that they got rid of him. So ever since then, the Lions have been on my bad side.
You are hilarious.
Do I actually think there's something to do with it? No, there's nothing to do with it. I don't know where Jeremy Fowler got that or why people ran with it, but they did.
Number 2.
Miami of Ohio, the basketball team, men's basketball team, is undefeated, but many people are asking if they're going to be in the tournament, even if they lose their conference tournament. And a lot of people are saying no, including Bruce Pearl, former Auburn coach. He had some pretty strong words for Miami of Ohio. Here he is talking about it.
Miami, Ohio, here's the deal. Are we going to select the 68 most deserving teams, or are we going to select the 68 best teams? If we're selecting the 68 best teams, then Miami, Ohio is going to have to win their tournament to qualify as a champion. Because as an at-large, they are not one of the best teams in the country. And that's going to be a difficult choice for the committee to make.
Here's a question that I have for the group here. what is more valuable, the conference tournament or the regular season, winning out the regular season? I think it's regular season.
Right.
Because I think you got a larger body of work.
All right, it goes on for a little bit longer, but basically Bruce Pearl
Jamal Mashburn speaking some facts.
Yeah, they have an issue with this because I don't think that they're 29-0, this Miami of Ohio team. And so Bruce Pearl says, if we're selecting the 68 best teams or most deserving teams, they wouldn't be in it. They're going to have to win their conference tournament. I don't know why you turned into Kermit the Frog there. But, sorry, Tony.
Or Donald Duck.
Tony's just like sitting there like, what is happening right now? The Miami of Ohio athletic director was not happy about this. He tweeted, Coach Bruce Pearl, you are flat out wrong about Miami of Ohio when you say we would finish last in the Big East. The disrespect is awful, and you should not be near a TV studio covering this sport when you show your true colors. Even slipped in a quote-unquote we when talking about Auburn. Nice work. So my question to you, Tony, is, should Miami of Ohio make the tournament? Chris and I have talked about this a lot in the time that you've missed the show, but what are your thoughts?
I think both things can be true. I definitely believe in what Jamal Mashburn was saying, that the regular season should be valued more. But I understand where Bruce Pearl's coming from. You can't just beat up on weak teams that ain't that great and stack up 29 wins, which I haven't seen for myself, but it sounds like that's what everybody is saying is happening. Like Miami of Ohio is dominating teams that aren't very good. And so they have a 29-0 record. And so the way this works is you got to have, tough opponents and a lot of wins.
Yeah.
And some big wins. You have not either of those. You haven't played tough opponents, and you don't have any big wins because you haven't played any tough opponents. And so, I think that's just kind of how this thing has gone and it's been going. So, this isn't the same thing as Kentucky going undefeated, whenever that was. Cat, it's not the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, you are right. And Jerry Palm came on last week and he said their schedule is just so easy. Like they have to win their conference tournament to get in. So,
and I think that what Bruce Pearl said was the key part was that they aren't one of the 60 or however many 30-something best at-large teams.
Yeah.
That's the key part. Not that they aren't in the top 68, because they could be at the back end of that. But in terms of at-large bids, there's no way they're close to anybody.
Yeah.
Number one.
We'll see. The Red Hawks, if they get in. All right, final one. Now, this one caught my eye because Cowboys COO Stephen Jones says the team plans to use the 12th and 20th picks to rebuild the defense. So my question to you, Tony, is it bad strategy to tell people what you're going after in the draft?
No, I don't think so. Because these teams know what they want. Now, yes, in terms of if the two teams picking in front of them, three teams picking in front of them are looking for defensive guys.
Yeah.
That part, yes. That is not very smart. But they don't know what defensive guys.
True.
They may feel like they are grading out differently than a team. Clearly, Dallas has been able to pick some good defenders. They kind of seem like they know what they're doing in terms of that.
Yeah, I think you're right that you don't know who's going to be on the board, but it's like, don't tell everybody your plan before going into the draft.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's very
right.
Stephen Jones of him. All right, that's it for the Big Five. When we get back, possibly Chris and Tony Gwynn Jr. and I will return here on 97.3 The Fan for the happy hour. Things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Skraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard. Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Skraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard. Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
These things. It even tells you, hey, there's a canyon over here. Don't hit it here.
Skraby from about 45 feet. His caddy tells him to play it a little to the right. He's been playing well so far today. Fourth hole. Nice smooth delivery. Hit it too hard. Sasquatch.
So Chris says that he can't play golf, but this is the second birdie putt he's made for us. This time it was like 20 feet.
Thank you very much, Greg. But once again, you're hitting some very nice shots as well. I'm not usually complimentary to you, but can't help but be complimentary. Your shot making today.
With my what?
Your shot making. You hit some.
Happy hour in the house. 5:01 out in San Diego, 6:01 here in Phoenix. Tony Gwynn Jr., Matt Skraby, We still are waiting for Chris Ello. It has not happened as of yet. Padres take another one on the chin today. The Athletics, they swung the bats. 12 hits, 7 runs on 12 hits. Padres, 2 runs on 5 hits. And, not really much to talk about, honestly. Michael, in his second start, didn't seem as sharp as he was in his first start. Outside of that, who else? Logan Gillespie threw the ball well. He was probably the best one out there, I would say, today. Omar Cruz struggled. Another guy who, probably is getting a look. Offensively, not a lot going on.
I got one question for you about someone offensively. I'll go right now. Jace Bowen. He's been kind of making a name for himself. He hit a home run today. What kind of prospects does he have at making the major league team?
I would say it would be he'd have to climb over quite a few to get there. I mean, he would be competing for like Bryce's spot, right?
Okay.
And so, you got Bryce. I think Samad Taylor has showed pretty well. And then you got Jace, who's certainly, doing his thing. So I don't know. I think it's still relatively early, but, I think when it comes to those guys, if we're talking Jace, that's kind of the cup that, that's kind of the group that he's in.
Yeah. Sam and I were talking about it earlier, and he kind of mentioned it to you that he thinks there's like maybe only 2 spots left on the roster. Just kind of, and Bryce Johnson is probably going to be the last guy on the roster type of thing.
I think Bryce obviously has the inside track to be the 4th outfielder, but just because you went out and had a good year last year doesn't guarantee you anything. I think Stamp said that in one of the press that they didn't guarantee him the spot. And so I think Taylor and I think Jace are they're also pressing him for it.
Nick Solak was also mentioned by AJ Cassavell. So basically, for all of the offseason, we're talking about how the roster needs to be built. And now we're talking about how there's too many guys for the roster. So we should have all just calmed down. And our show was fine. Our show was okay.
It's a reasonable thing because it's at this point, I think it's fair to say that AJ knows what he's doing. So we shouldn't trip when we get late. It's a reasonable thing to be like, yo, what's going on? We ain't done nothing. We got some holes. How are we addressing them? But he generally, no matter what, has it looking in a way that you feel way more comfortable than you did at that particular time. Now that is, and I think that's not a done deal either, right? He'll lay low and see how this shakes out. And first, April, May, June, middle June-ish, you're like seeing where the spots you could address at. That kind of waiting for those to kind of be the obvious, right? Came pretty, obvious that we needed like a right-handed bat. We needed kind of a bopper. That all came by middle of June. We were pretty confident. Yeah, this is kind of what they need, and boom, they went out and they addressed it. So it's not a done deal from that. This is just for now. It's like you put it through the little thing, you see the sifter, and then you kind of boom, there we go. Now we got our guys for now, and then we'll address it later.
They also brought in Alex Verdugo over the weekend, which Sam and I were talking about, and I think at this point in his career and what he's done the last few years, it's more of a name recognizable name than an impact player. But what do you think about them bringing him in?
He's a depth piece. If he can get back to his big years, yeah, heck yeah. But he hasn't shown that in a little bit, and so you take flyers on this guy's. Unless I think this is a testament a little bit to the staff's they feel like they can help guys get better, or they can maybe see something that no one else was seeing. You see them how they've done the pitching reclamation projects, and they've had great success with that. And so you take a flyer on a guy like Verdugo. He has done it at a high level. You know, hopefully he can get back to that.
Yeah, did you hear Sam's funny story about this whole thing about Verdugo?
I did not.
He was sitting on the back porch or in the back area where everybody was at, and some guy came out of the clubhouse kind of looking. Sam's like, "Is that Alex Verdugo? I haven't seen any roster alerts or anything like that." And so Sam's just like staring at him, and then for 3 hours he was like, "Was that Alex Verdugo?" And it was Alex Verdugo. So there you go. Maybe not as funny when Sam's not telling the story, but
yeah, it wasn't funny.
Don't look the other way, or don't look. Yeah, I'm gonna move on from this. Don't look at me, but look at Leo Dallas DeVries with 2 for 4 today. Tony, trade failure. Trade failure.
Did you see the hits?
No, I did not. Were they little bloops?
Yeah, basically.
All right, let's move on to the Aztecs basketball team.
Oh, do we have to?
Yes. We haven't talked about it yet today.
Do we have to?
The Aztecs are struggling big time in a way that I don't think we've seen them struggle in the last few years, or maybe more than a few years.
How are they struggling?
They're just not consistent. They were leading this game, and they're not playing defense. Like, that's their thing, is that they play defense and they can win 58-55. Now they're losing 84-78, and they're losing leads. It's so uncharacteristic of a Brian Dutcher team.
Yeah, I don't know if the word is they're struggling. They haven't been consistent for sure. I don't know. I don't know, man. I saw, as I told you guys, I ran into them on my way. I don't know if I told you guys this.
No.
I ran into them going to Albuquerque on my way home to San Diego. We were both in the Phoenix airport.
Oh.
And they were going to Albuquerque.
That's random.
And I was going to San Diego. So I talked to Dutch, and I got to talk to some of the guys. And huge contingency of San Diego State folks, flying along with them. But, I think this has been who they are all season. They haven't been. They looked so good through the first, 15 minutes of that game.
Yeah.
Maybe a little less than that. Maybe it was more like 13, 12 minutes of that game. They were up by like 12.
Yeah, they had a
and
good
they were
lead.
playing good D. I left to go to my daughter's game. I'm thinking, all right. But there was something that told me you're going to have to keep checking your phone, dog, because we've seen these leads just dwindle. And sure enough, pick it up, only up 1 at half. Or excuse me, down 1 at half. And then it just kind of, as I kept looking, it never turned back the other way.
It went the wrong way really quick.
It's just, it's tough. Now, they're going to have to do the work themselves, for sure.
Yeah, they're going to have to win their conference tournament to get in. Joe Lunardi, I just saw his new bracketology out. They are part of the first 4 out, which is interesting to me because they're at least close enough to be considered the first 4 out. So if they win a few more games, I don't know. It just seems like a frustrating year for the Aztecs and for everyone involved, Tony. I don't know. This tournament is going to stress me out. I know, like, everything that's happened in basketball this year, college basketball, I've predicted wrong. So I'm probably going to predict it wrong.
That's not new news. You predict a lot of stuff.
What are you talking about? I get stuff right all the time.
What do you mean? What do you mean? What am I talking about?
What are you talking about? I'm always on point. Come on now.
No, you're not.
Trey Young's going to make his debut tonight. Are you excited?
Oh, he's back.
Yeah, he's playing for the Wizards.
You know why I'm excited? Because he's coming back and he's playing. He could sit out like everybody else sometimes does. He's going to actually come back and actually play, even though his team is hot garbage.
Yeah, they really are. And he wanted to go there. So it was
when is Anthony Davis coming back?
I don't know. I haven't seen any news
That's
about
when the party really gets started. Those two, man, if they about that life, they could turn DC around. Had that bad boy jumping.
Did Anthony Davis get shut down?
I know he shut down for a little bit. I don't know if it's for the year though.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything about the year, but poor guy. Just
You
keeps
can
getting
find
injured.
it in the break, bro. It's 5:11. Yeah,
It is
So, yeah, we can finish
5:11.
up the segment.
Let me read this. Happy Hour is brought to you by GL Pools, the company trusted by thousands of San Diegans to keep their pools sparkling, swim ready, and expertly maintained. Call GL Pools now and say radio for a free month of service. I am broadcasting
Chris
live from the
said-
Bill House Studios. We know how. No, you're good. Oh, he's here.
Chris said that TL2, he wants to know.
All right, TL2. I'll connect with you in the break, Chris. We're going to get traffic a little bit
right.
later, and then hopefully we have our guy Chris Ello hooked up on the other side. 97.3 The Fan.
Do you have anybody? Are we doing it? Did you guys talk to anybody today, or is just you and Sam kicking it?
It was just us two. We played. I'll tell you in the break. How about that?
Okay. How about that? That's perfect.
Talk to you guys soon.
I'll let you produce.
Search for Ben and Woods on Apple.
Stand up, stay low. Hands on the heart. Stay low.
typical tandem student right there.
I tried. I wrecked your good job, buddy.
Fun, huh?
You need help with anything? Okay, I'm nervous. Stand up, stay low. Hands on the heart. Stay low.
.518 on the clock, 6:18 here in Phoenix. Where's Chris at?
He's actually, he can't do the camera, but he's here. He's on the board.
Oh,
there he is.
Hello, Chris.
I'm in your time zone, Tony. I'm actually in the waiting room outside the office of the Air Force baseball coach, Major Kozlowski. His door is right to my left here. I'm just sitting in the waiting room because it's the quietest place I can find. But here I am. I'm in your time zone. It took a long time to get here today, but I'm happy to be here. We had to. They're doing quite a bit of ID checking to get on the Air Force Academy base these days, as you might imagine. But I wanted to refer to a couple quick things that I saw while I was traveling today, and one was that Nick Castellanos apparently, you can confirm or deny, but hit a run-scoring double today that everybody thought was fair except for the umpires, and somehow it never got overturned or whatever the case was. So I wanted to ask you, Tony, who made that call? Was it the referees from the Aztec, New Mexico basketball game?
I don't know if it was the same refs, but it definitely was another ref not in position to make a call.
That's it, right? Not in position. Exactly.
Yeah, no, he definitely didn't run down the line. He didn't go run at all. He just kind of turned and tracked it and then got screened out by the left fielder. And yes, it ended up landing fair. He called it foul. It would have probably scored 2 runs.
Right.
Yeah, but them's are the breaks right there, unfortunately.
Well, the difference between that and, of course, the Aztec basketball game at New Mexico is that they had instant replay and they looked at it from 60 different angles in that game at New Mexico. And even the great one, Gene Steratore, said that it should have been Aztec basketball. And if it's good enough for Gene Steratore, it's good enough for me and everybody else who was watching it. And they did not overturn that call. And I don't want to blame the whole game on that, but sure would be nice to get things right when you're playing basically for a berth in the NCAA tournament. And, they box that call up and give the ball to New Mexico. So I hate to see stuff like that happen. It frustrates me. And, looking at the Aztecs right now as the first or second team out of the bracket. And if they had won that game, they'd be in the bracket. So there's a lot at stake there in that game. And they didn't get the call. So
no, they didn't get it right. And Aztecs still trying to figure out how to hold a lead. I mean, they played well. I was telling Skraby, they played well through the first 13 minutes of that ball game. And
exactly,
then,
Tony.
And then it just changed.
Yeah. No, they were in so much control in the early part of that game. But this, for whatever reason, this year's version of the Aztecs just can't keep that up for 40 minutes. And the things that they do are frustrating. They're the things that we're not used to seeing Aztec teams do. And, fouling, going after rebounds and basically, fouling 90 feet away from the basket so that the other team can walk down and make 2 free throws. They gave up 36 free throw attempts the other day. That's like
that's
one a minute.
Yeah,
that's
way
one
too
a
many.
minute. You're putting a guy on the line in his home court. Just unforced turnovers. Turnovers are going to happen, Tony. You know that. Guy's going to make a play or whatever. But to just throw the ball away and turn around and run down the court the other way that's a waste. Those kinds of things. And I watched that. I mean, that center for New Mexico, either he's the next Wilt Chamberlain or we have a problem, because he should not be getting 24 and 18. When you've got Magoon Guath and Miles Heidi down there, they got to do something about that, but they couldn't, and that's why they lost the game. So,
yeah, they got.
So it goes.
Excuse me. They got.
What just happened? Tony's been traveling, so
I lost my train of thought too.
You were talking about Aztecs basketball. You were talking about them not being consistent. Mark Ziegler wrote this morning or over the weekend that maybe the Aztecs need to start going after some Euro basketball players or some of the other guys that are killing them.
I don't know. It ain't work for USC. So, I mean, it ain't work for, they don't work for everybody. So, I don't know that Dutch needs to change up his thought on how he's done it. I think the rush to, again, this kind of goes back to the whole idea that everybody was, jumping ship. They didn't look like that the very next outing out, right? They looked like a team that we thought they just are inconsistent. This is I think it's already hard to bring in a bunch of guys that, when you're shuffling in and out with different players every year. That's a hard thing to do. And I think there are going to be times where it doesn't quite fit the way you imagine it to. Now, the thing that's different about this is that a lot of these guys have already played together. And so that's the frustrating part. But that's how this season has gone. I don't want to rush to Dutch changing something up when it's been so successful. We've been raving about how successful it has been because there's one season that it didn't quite go the same way. Or even if you want to count last season as being one of those seasons, it still got to the NCAA tournament, and it just from there they had a shot, and it didn't go their way. That's where they're at right now.
Yeah, Tony, you're 100% right, and I don't think the Aztecs should change a thing. And I know there's people that are honestly, I mean, I've read a few tweets here and there like, oh, it's time for Dutcher. He never wins a big game. Are you kidding me? He won a Final Four game. I don't know that you can win a bigger game than that. But my point being, to overreact to a season where things don't go great would be a big mistake. And I think he's smarter than that. And he's going to stay the course and try to do the same things he's always done. And let's just say one last thing before we bury them, Tony. They still can go to Las Vegas and win 3 games. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. The team has the talent to do it. We don't expect them to because they haven't been consistent. But let's wait till everything is said and done before we determine the final fate of this team.
Chris, I know you have some things to say about Bruce Pearl. We just talked about him in the Big Five.
Well, the only thing I wanted to say, I mean, look, I'm obviously coming from a point where, I look out for the mid-major teams, and because the Aztecs are one, but it is, and I'm really happy that the Miami of Ohio, AD stepped up and said, look, this guy's making these claims on national TV and he doesn't have a clue. And I bet you anything that Bruce Pearl has never watched Miami of Ohio play one single minute of basketball. And, for him to just summarily assume they'd finish last in the Big East it's not responsible to even say something like that. And, I'm glad he was called out for it. The thing that gets me is that let's take a team like Auburn, which is Bruce Pearl's son's team now. They've lost 7 of their last 8 games, but because they play in a conference where losing doesn't drop you in the metrics, it doesn't matter. And then they win one, and everybody says, oh, they got a quad 1 win. Well, I believe if Miami of Ohio or the Aztecs or teams like that, if every game we played was a quad 1 game, certainly we wouldn't be 12-0, but I believe we'd be 5-7, 4-8. We would win a lot of those games, and our resume would look terrific. So it's just irresponsible. Auburn is in a different situation as Miami, Ohio, but to summarily dismiss what those kids have accomplished going 29-0, I thought it was kind of typical of what I would expect from a, power coach. But right, I mean, this is what he's going to say, but I didn't like it. It rubbed me the wrong way, and I really give credit to Miami, Ohio's AD for saying I'm going to stand up. I'm not going to take that, and I'm glad he stood up.
Can I ask one thing about the AD's tweet though?
Yeah,
he didn't spell U-Y-O-U. He kept spelling it with the U. Do we take it less seriously when a guy of a position of power?
I think that has to do with. Yeah, maybe so. I don't know.
Or maybe it's a character
maybe he thought
thing?
Maybe he hasn't Twittered since the old days, Skraby, and he thought he only had so many characters.
Well, you do, and I guess you're kind of right. So maybe, but it's just weird when he's calling someone out and he keeps putting the letter U.
Well, it's a shame because I think all of us, probably everybody outside the SEC and the Big 12, Miami of Ohio is going to be representing a lot of us mid-major teams and cities and schools. And, if they go in there and get blown out in the first game by, the 8th place team in the SEC, we're all going to have to shut up. So,
that's my issue. That's my issue because I'm looking at their schedule, and if we're being honest, it's hard to find someone. It's a really, who's who of knots.
Right. Oh no, you're right, Tony.
In this thing, and what I don't want to happen is what has happened in college football is that you get representation and then you go get smacked, and then then the conversation starts to exclude you altogether. And I think in basketball it's a little bit harder to do that because of the NCAA tournament and how many teams get in. But although I disagree. Although Bruce Pearl's credentials on this after he picked them last is certainly within the realm to question at this point anything he has to say about Miami of Ohio. I do see his point in terms of this is old to San Diego State, and this is why San Diego State's not in this is because they actually play in a conference that is far superior to the MAC conference.
Yeah, they do.
And so. I think this goes to show you why San Diego State schedules preseason games or
they have to, for sure,
conference games the way they do. And to me, it's like if you mean to tell me teams are willing to play San Diego State, but they not willing to play Miami of Ohio, like that don't make a whole lot of sense to me. Like
that's exactly what Jerry Palm said last week when he was on with Skraby and I, the bracketologist. He said, this is on Miami of Ohio to do whatever is necessary to get games scheduled against good teams.
Yeah.
And Tony, you're right. The Aztecs are willing to go to the Bahamas to play Arizona, or they'll go to Las Vegas to play Michigan. They'll go wherever they have to go to play these teams. And Miami of Ohio, if they want to be good, they have to do the same thing. So that is a fair point.
There's obviously risk in that, but even if you go out there and you lose by 5 against one of these big power teams, that's going to be looked upon a lot better than you going up to pay AR Pine Bluff and beating them by 36.
Don't be taking a shot at the sauce Pine Bluff, Tony.
Come on now. Leave the Pine Bluffers out of this.
I'm not.
It's the sauce Pine Bluff you're messing with there.
Man, that is brutal.
All right, fine. Or Mercyhurst. Like, go.
There you go. You can take a shot at
no
that.
issue with taking shots at Mercyhurst.
That's right. That's fair.
Before we go to break, all guests on 97.3 The Fan are brought to you by STCCU. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. We're gonna have to talk about our plan. I believe we're going to go with Sam's interview of Mason Miller, but I will talk to you guys in the break and we'll come out with our plan on the other side. 97.3 The Fan.
Ben and Woods on The Fan.
Listen up, everybody. It's the biggest fan time. Congratulations to today's biggest fan, Flavio Garcia of San Isidro. Give us a call within the next 10 minutes at 833-288-0973. You'll qualify for our grand prize, 20 tickets for you and your friends for a night in our Odyssey Suite at a Padres game with all of the fan staff later this season, catered by Spiro's Mediterranean Cuisine. Remember to register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan. Again, Flavio Garcia of San Isidro. 10 minutes, 833-288-0973. Now, before you guys take off, when we hear from Mason Miller, Chris has a question.
I do, just for Tony, because we haven't had a chance to talk to him. I know the Aztec baseball team finished up a 4-game series against Washington today. I think they end up splitting that series, Tony. But look, they're 7-5. They get the win over number 1 UCLA. I want to also mention UCSD did beat UCLA as well. So I don't want to leave the Tritons out of this. But I do want to ask, that win for the Aztec baseball program, what did that mean to you, Tony? Do you think to Strasburg and to kind of the way things are developing in the early going under Kevin Vance?
I think it's gone exactly how you would like it to start off, right? I mean, You've got some big wins. Did they play a 4-game series up in Washington?
They did, yeah. They won the first 2, and I think they lost the second 2. So,
oh man, I was just sending Blake a bunch of texts, thinking that we at least took 2 or 3. We split the series.
Oh no!
Yeah, I'm sure I'll hear about that at some point. But yeah, I think these are good wins, man. I think these are you beat UCLA, that's a big deal. They were number 1 team in the country. Coming into that game. So forget what USD's done. We ain't worried about them. The Aztecs are Kevin's off to I think a good start. These guys out there competing.
Glad to hear it.
Yes. All right. You guys.
How was Sammy Levitt today to co-host with Skraby?
Well, he can't change a headlight light bulb, so he's not really that great.
This is Chris, real quick. Do you change when your light goes off or your front lights go out? One of them goes out.
Okay.
Do you change it yourself?
Are you kidding me?
No, I knew Chris wouldn't do that. Chris can't even change the garage door opener.
Well, do I even know how to get? Do I even know how to get to that light bulb? It's not like out in the open.
That's what I said. Skraby's over here trying to shame us into you guys don't know how to change your old car light bulb.
It's really easy. It's really easy. You just Chris's car is a little bit more difficult because Mercedes makes it really hard to do anything to that car.
Yeah, because you should take it in and let somebody else
take it in.
I agree that if you have an expensive car, then probably take it in. But when you have a little crappy Toyota Prius like I used to, I did everything on my own.
I don't. I'm not. Into the politics of the world too well, Skraby, but I do follow the Ronald Reagan form of trickle-down economics. And my point being, when there's something wrong with something in my house, I hire the people who are, built to fix it. That's my theory on that.
You're a man of the people, Chris.
That's right. I'm just trying to help out. I don't want to fix. I don't want to fix the lamp in my house. The electrician needs the work. Come on over.
He needs
Happy to have him.
Work. Okay. All right. Well, thanks for joining, Chris. Thanks for.
All right. I'm sorry I couldn't make it more, but it's good to talk to you guys. I'll see you on Wednesday. It looks like, but
okay.
Hold up the fort, everyone.
Yes, I'm gonna hold it up. Dog. I'm gonna hold it up like this with my hands in the air.
Stop.
Thank you, Chris. I'm gonna turn this off now. All right. We have traffic, and then we'll get to Sammy Lev with Mason Miller.
Wait. No.
What?
We got the biggest fan.
We already did it. Flavio Garcia.
Did you do it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you
Flavio
did do
Garcia.
Okay.
We do have a Skraby show that starts at 6, so I'll be getting ready for that here during Mason Miller
Chronicles
from the 855. Get Ross.
Sam Levitt here at Padres Spring Training in Peoria, Arizona. Still the early days of spring, and right now I'm joined by Padres closer Mason Miller. Mason, appreciate you taking the time. How's spring going so far?
Spring's going awesome, Sam. Appreciate the time. Good to sit here and spend some time with you.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your off season. You spent it back in Pittsburgh, same area where you grew up. How was your off season? How was the winter? I hear a lot of snow, a lot of cold weather.
Yes, yeah. Towards the end there, it was a lot of snow, a lot of chilly temperatures, but overall great off season. Nice to be home, be around the family, kick it up a little bit. We had an awesome time. Enjoyed the downtime. Excited to be back though.
After the season, is it nice to get home, some familiarity, and kind of a place that's maybe a little bit more low key for you than what the season's like?
Yeah. Nothing beats coming home to your house and sleeping in your bed at home, and just being nothing to do tomorrow. Just take it one day at a time. That's kind of how we go about the season. But when you don't have a schedule each day, it's kind of nice to do what you want to do.
I'm sure last season was a bit of a whirlwind for you. You spend most of it with the A's. You get traded at the deadline to San Diego, end up having just a tremendous run final 2 months of the season into the postseason, which we'll talk about. But now that you had the opportunity to sit with it over the winter, how do you reflect on what last season was?
Yeah, last season was a whirlwind, like you said. For me, for my wife, just getting moved in the middle of the season is never easy, but felt really fortunate to end up in a place like San Diego where, everybody welcomed us with open arms, super hospitable, made our lives super easy. So we're very fortunate for that. And then to be welcomed in and perform well on a great team going towards the playoffs. And, unfortunately it didn't work out as well as we hoped, but it was a blessing to be a part of that group, and I felt great about the way we finished up.
Right, and it was your first time pitching in a playoff race that late in the season into the postseason. How do you reflect on getting that opportunity, getting laid outs in those kinds of big games and situations?
Yeah, that's what you prepare for. That's what you talk about in spring training, what you think about throughout the course of the season, so to actually be in that spot and have a chance to go get those big outs and be put into situations where, the season kind of feels like it's on the line.
Right.
Very rewarding, a lot of learning. And, once you get a taste of it, you want to get back to it.
What stood out to you about playing at Petco Park and in front of the fans? Everybody comes and talks about it, quite the atmosphere. But to you, San Diego in particular, what stood out about being a Padre?
Man, it was just every single night, packed out, energy. And obviously having played there on the road, you kind of know the atmosphere that you're going into.
Right.
But just the excitement and the care and the support that the fans have is really one of a kind. And I'm truly honored and grateful to be able to go out there and play with those fans behind us.
Fast forwarding to the postseason, it was really amazing. You faced 9 batters. You struck out 8. In the process, you threw the fastest recorded pitch in postseason history at 104.5. What was that like for you pitching in the postseason for the first time in particular?
The atmosphere was incredible. The stakes obviously are super high. So I feel like it elevates everybody's game. Everybody has that will to do well, want to do your part for your team. But that's all heightened in the playoffs. So finding a way to feel those feelings, feel that adrenaline, but also stay, within yourself and do the things that had gotten the team to that point. So I really cherish those moments. And like I said, just really excited to get back to it.
Do you think it gives you a little extra juice having now had a taste of postseason baseball to try to get back there?
Yeah, I think you wonder what it's like. Now you know what it's like. So there's a difference there. But, no game is the same. Each situation is a little bit different. So just finding that normalcy for yourself and what's going to help you perform at the highest level.
As far as velocity, everybody knows you throw hard. I mentioned the pitch at 104.5 in the postseason. You think you got 105 in you, 106 in you?
Why not? You don't put any limitations on yourself. That's the way I approach it. Every year we're just working, trying to get a little bit better. So we'll see where we end up this year.
Yeah, we'll get to some of the fan questions in a second. There were a lot of questions about velocity, and we'll get to some of those. From your perspective, you've obviously had a tremendous start to your major league career. What you did late last season was just awesome for San Diego. Heading into the offseason, and I guess as you get ready to start 2026, where was there an area or what was the area where you looked at and said, I can still get better there?
Yeah, 100%. As a competitor, you're always looking for ways to get better.
Yeah.
And the game is I say like a pendulum of like, you're going really good, and then, the pendulum kind of swings and people got you figured out, and that's how are you going to adjust? So, just continuing to stay consistent in my preparation and how I respond to situations that don't necessarily go the way that I would like. Just shortening the stretches of bad and trying to ride out those stretches of good as long as you can.
Do you feel like that's something earlier in your career that you struggled with more when things maybe didn't go your way of how you would react to them?
Not necessarily, but I do think you look at the 2024 season, you look at the 2025 season for me, and my numbers are very, very similar over the course of those 2 years. Ended the same number of punch outs, similar ERA, things like that. But I felt like the seasons were completely different, where I came out of the gates really hot in 24, and most of my struggles in 24 came towards the back half of the season. And I was self-aware enough to know that I want to be throwing my best bullets towards the end of the season, especially as we, even with the A's, had goals of making the playoffs. You go into each season, that's every team's goal. But kind of wanting to be able to be in a point where I didn't feel like I was sputtering to the finish line. And, to be able to finish like I did last year was super, super motivating for me, just because that was kind of a goal that I came into the season with. Now, if I can stretch that consistency out over the course of the full season, as opposed to having a tough month in May like I did last year, and I think that just takes my game to another level.
A few other questions for you before we get to the social media fan questions. Team USA, you'll be heading out of here in about a week and a half or so, joining Team USA World Baseball Classic. What went into that decision to pitch for Team USA, and how much are you looking forward to that?
Oh, it wasn't much of a decision. I really, as soon as I had the opportunity to, it was an easy yes, to be a part of a group like that. Going to play in an event that has picked up more and more steam, and I think is really growing in popularity, which I think is great for the game of baseball as a whole. Just to be able to be on that stage and be along those guys, I'm really honored to be there.
You have some guys in that clubhouse that are playing on other teams. I think notably Fernando, Manny on the Dominican Republic team. You could face those guys in the later rounds. I know I've talked to people around here, like we can all see that late inning matchup, Mason Miller against the middle of the order, Manny, Fernando. Have you thought about what that could be like?
Take it one game at a time, but I know they're getting some reps in the lives. So,
all right.
We're feeling it out a little bit, but you welcome competition at the highest level, and we have some extremely talented guys in our locker room. So to get the chance to match up with them, that'd be good. And you definitely want to get the upper hand, because you got to spend the whole season with them too.
That's right. And you want those guys hitting during those games during the regular season. I asked you this during a scrum in the clubhouse a handful of days ago about the conversations. There were some rumblings during the early part of the offseason about maybe the Padres stretching you out into a starting pitcher. Ultimately, you guys came to the decision to keep you in the bullpen, where you've been so good and so dominant. But in a greater sense, is that something that you think you may be interested in one day at some point, going back to the rotation?
Yeah, kind of like I said, just putting those limitations on yourself. I view myself as a bullpen pitcher right now. It's where I've had my success. I won't limit myself to say that's what I'll be for my entire career. But right now, from an individual perspective and from a team perspective too, it makes the most sense. And really, that's all we're here to do, is how can we help the San Diego Padres achieve their goals and do what we want to do. So I think we were all in agreement on that.
Yeah, and just so you know, I was with you. Watching this guy throw out of the bullpen, I was like, don't do a thing. Keep on doing what you're doing. You've been very, very vocal going back to your time with the A's, your journey with type 1 diabetes. You also have a guy in the clubhouse, Michael King, who is King of the Hill Foundation, focuses on delaying, preventing the onset of type 1 diabetes. You've become involved with that on the board of advisors. Why does that continue, and I'm sure in San Diego as well, continue to be such a big part of your off the field identity, making sure you're involved with those communities?
Yeah, I think as a professional player, professional athlete in any sport, you have a platform, and I think that it falls on your shoulders to do good with that platform. I have a super unique situation that I'm able to connect with kids with type 1 diabetes. Really anybody with type 1 diabetes, we have that in common regardless of, where they are in life. So just a real unique opportunity that I really cherish taking advantage of, because it is important to me. I mean, I was diagnosed at 20 years old, but I remember looking up athletes that had type 1 diabetes. So I know that kids are doing that now, and I'm a name that pops up for them. So, if I get a chance to meet with them, even talk with them for 10 minutes, that is easy for me to do. That's not a challenge. But that might be something that impacts their life in a positive way. And I'm going to jump at that opportunity every chance I get.
And we talked about it before, your type 1 diabetes diagnosis, treatment, it changed the trajectory of your life, your career, how you pitch. So you certainly, you continue to be so involved in those communities. All right, let's get to some of the fan questions I put out on social media. If you had a chance to ask Mason Miller a question, what would you ask him? So we'll run through some quick ones here. I think I know the answer to this because you grew up in Pittsburgh, but what team and players did you root for as a kid?
Pittsburgh Pirates was my team. Andrew McCutchen was the star, and still was for a long time too.
Right.
But growing up, he was the man in Pittsburgh. So I'm a big Andrew McCutchen fan.
All right, Pittsburgh Pirates. When did you first feel you had a real chance to play pro ball?
That's a hard question. I even going my 5th year after COVID to Gardner-Webb, that was me going all in on baseball. But no opportunities guaranteed in this game. Injuries can take things away at any turn, any point. But yeah, going to Gardner-Webb was me going all in on baseball. So I think that was, that's what I was pursuing.
Right. And for those of you who don't know, Mason has a tremendous story, was not a Division I player, and then ultimately goes to Gardner-Webb, gets drafted, and here he is now, one of the best relievers in the game. I like this question a lot that we got on social media.
Okay.
Do you check the velocity of your fastball during the game?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, it depends. So there's a lot of stadiums where it's almost unavoidable. It's behind home plate, or you see it. But yeah, I catch myself giving it a peek sometimes too. Just kind of see where you're at, get a little gauge.
Yeah, gives you an idea of kind of like how it's coming out, maybe versus how you feel.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. A lot of questions about arm health and arm care, I think, from a lot of younger baseball players or parents of players. What does that look like for you as far as your arm care, I guess, outing by outing, after you pitch, on off days? What does that generally look like during the season?
Yeah, I mean, your two primary areas to target are your shoulder and your forearm. For me, anytime I'm off the mound, I do some form of isometric shoulder work, isometric forearm work. We have a great training staff here, so a lot of that program is done through them. But what's important to me, I think, is on those days that you're not pitching, still taking a chance to work on something.
Right.
Whether it's mobility, whether it's some extra strength, if you have a couple of days. Strength's the name of the game, and you strengthen your arm by throwing a baseball. Your internal rotation strengthens every time you throw a ball. So it's about staying on top of external rotation. So that's not too skewed. Over the course of the season, you can see your internal strength get really high and your external get lower. So trying to balance that out in the middle is kind of been my strategy.
Good insight there. You were only in San Diego a couple of months, but do you have a favorite food spot in San Diego so far? Any place stand out, even if you don't have a favorite necessarily yet?
Yeah, we haven't had a whole lot of chance to go out. We went out, I think it was Gaslamp Breakfast Company.
Okay, nice.
That was a spot my wife and I liked for breakfast. But I think we only had like one true off day in San Diego after the deadline. So really didn't get a chance to check out all those spots. I'm open to suggestions for sure.
Yeah, and you got to be careful when you go out because you're a tall guy, very recognizable. Fans might swarm you. By the way, that's why we had to sit down for this interview, because I knew if we stood up, it was going to be totally wacky. I was going to be looking up. I like this question, another baseball question to wrap it up. When you're in the bullpen, most important pregame prep, your pitch reps or your mindset?
Mindset, 100%. I mean, I don't know how much fans get to really watch guys in the bullpen, but you see a lot of guys in the bullpen. It doesn't look great, but you care about how you feel once you get into the game and how you perform in the game. So, if you're overly critical in the bullpen, you're going to have a hard time going out there and performing. So, it's bullpens for getting loose, the game's for performance.
All right. Thanks to Sammy Lev again for providing the interview of Mason Miller. We are done for today. Sam is going to join us again tomorrow to start the show. But up next, we have a Skraby show, so make sure you stick around. We're going to talk about the World Baseball Classic and kind of look through and see if a good World Baseball Classic equals a good start to the regular season. I did a little bit of research. So back with you shortly. Skraby show next on 97.3 The Fan.